Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning! Happy Victory Monday to all across the Delaware Valley. And boy, was it a good Victory Monday. That's right. This is the Anthony Gargano Show after the 28-3 drubbing of the Giants in the Saquon Bowl. We're brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com. Find the neighborhood pharmacy nearest you. We need Halloween candy. You're looking for some, you need scripts done? You got to get flu shots? Oh, that's Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Yeah, it was something special yesterday in that Saquon Barkley showed you just how incredible he was there. You see the numbers, Bucks 76. I mean, he just was awesome. 17 carries, averaging 10 a pop. Oh, my God. It looked like a couple times he was about to break him even more. It felt like he could have ran for 300 yesterday. He was, the line was fantastic, and he was just dialed in. He's such a treasure, and he's a treasure to the city. He really is. He's obviously, we always have laid claim to him, and he's the type of dude that is just says the right things. He's so lovable, likable. He's, carries himself with dignity. He's special, man. He really is. And it was great to see him have his comeuppance on the Giants. Giants, again, we know the story, didn't want to pay him. And, man, he was amazing yesterday. He was amazing. And look, one of the keys to that game was, could the Eagles deal without Jordan Mailata? And it turns out Mekhi Becton, too, because then he got hurt. But without Mailata, I thought they played well, man. I thought that line, there was a couple breakdowns, but they were great in a run game. Like the interior part of that line in a run game, they were fantastic. I mean, you saw Gainwell, right? Gainwell ran really well. There were holes to run. I mean, he carried the ball 13 times for 56 yards. He was terrific. It was ground and pound. There were some issues still. First quarter, right? First drive, anemic. First quarter, anemic. Ending halves. But overall, I mean, it was a great day for the offense because it was a Barkley game. It was fantastic. And then defensively, look, in the battle of the no left tackles, Andrew Thomas out for the Giants. Again, Mailata out for the Eagles. And you saw the Eagles' defense have its way. You saw pressures. I love the way Vic Fangio called that game. And look what happened. 8 sacks. They constantly harassed Daniel Jones. Malik Neighbors wasn't even part of the game, right? Like, they completely just crushed that offense. Took that offense down. Kobe Dean everywhere. 11 tackles. 2 sacks on the blitzes, right? Like, he was all over the place. He was talking about playing with confidence. He was flying. Jalen Carter, beast. 2 sacks. Nolan Smith had a sack. Josh Sweat had a sack. Even Bryce Huff had a sack, right? Like, again, just like Baldy said, when he's in a 4-point stance, right, and he's ready to go, hand in the dirt, you got your hands in the dirt. He looked like he got pressure. 8 sacks in all. They completely harassed Daniel Jones. And look, they moved to 4-2. And that's exactly the kind of win that you wanted. You look at this division, Washington goes to 5-2. They buried Carolina yesterday. But Jaden Daniels bangs a rib. So we'll see how long that's going to keep him out for. At least my guess, a couple weeks. The Eagles have him coming up in 3 to 4, right? That short week on that Thursday. So that'll be interesting. And, you kept pace. You're now 4-2. Washington 5-2. They had the game in hand. Or the Eagles have the game in hand. So we'll see. But overall, could any of us feel like losing to New York? Right? After Knicks in the NBA playoffs, and most recently Mets. By the way, ding dong, as TV Todd told me, the grimace is dead. So that's good. All right. I'll take that. I'll take the Dodgers in the World Series. But after that, we needed a little fight against New York, a flex against New York. And yesterday at the Meadowlands, the Eagles flexed. And that should make everybody feel good. Good morning, my boys. JP, John Zapata, VG, Violations Greg.
What was the yes?
It was a victory. It is a victory Monday.
Woo! We needed it, man.
You got the hat.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I got the PHLY hat. It's a good hat.
Just what the doctor ordered. Giants.
Yeah, it was. They were. They couldn't do anything. Let's look at it. I mean, the Eagles controlled that game from start to finish, even though they didn't score in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They controlled the game.
Yeah.
The Giants never felt like they were going to put any sort of threat.
Nothing. Singletary, he popped 1 or 2 for like 7 or 8 yards, but that was it. The secondary was locked down. I mean, Malik Neighbors is complaining after the game he was open. The tape will show it, but I don't know. They were all over.
Listen,
Daniel Jones didn't have time.
I'm sure he was open, right? Like, but here's the thing. That front came to play. And Vic Fangio, I thought, called a great game. He called pressures, right? Like he was aggressive. I love that's what we're asking
and the
for.
Kids were flying around. The Kobe D was everywhere. Nolan Smith popping. This is 2 games in a row for Nolan Smith. It's nice to see.
It's so good. I root for Nolan, man. Yeah. Georgia showed up not just in Texas, but in North Jersey. Georgia was firing yesterday. So it was a Bulldog weekend.
Yeah, taking money out of a lot of people's pockets. The whole bar was glued to that game on Saturday night, man.
Yeah, that was a great game. Georgia beat Texas, keeps people on the road.
Dude, how about there's so many good things going on. This is 2 games in a row. Cooper DeJean pops, too. Dude, like him he returns punts hard, man. He's going to bust one soon.
I love that kid. Yeah. Him and Kenyon Mitchell, I love those two. Those two.
Keon's out there like a man, like throwing people to the ground.
Dude, he is a blanket. Yeah. He's a blanket.
He plays with an edge,
He's an Afghan blanket. Yes, he does play with an edge.
I love that.
He's you know what's amazing? How polished. One of the things that stood out to me early watching him is that he looks really polished. His tape was very polished, coming out of the MAC. And, man, he's pretty. Like, he had a couple moments, I guess it was game 1 and game 3, where he looked a little like a rookie, which you're going to do.
Right.
But his game is polished.
No, all I was going to say was I loved, even like you saw like the NFL Films clips with Mike Evans. Like even like on a future Hall of Famer, Mike Evans, this guy's not scared. He doesn't care who the opponent is. He wants to go out there and play football and prove people wrong.
I agree. I love that kid. Both of them. You're right about Cooper, man. Coop is he's going to bust one. You could see he's a football player.
He just puts his head down and runs.
He's in Iowa. He's a football Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Like, listen, there's some talent on this defense, and it's just, you got to get through the growing pains. Now, again, I don't want to get over it. I'm not getting ahead of myself because it is the Giants. They didn't have their left tackle, who's their best player on offense.
It's a victory Monday.
Right. Well, I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not trying to tell people I'm going overboard, but I feel
Super Bowl.
Like I feel great. Yeah, I'm not doing that, but I feel great.
Yeah.
And offensively, I mean, Saquon, he's just a prince.
Oh my God,
he's a prince. It
reminds me he handles himself with great dignity.
Yeah,
he's a regal kind of running back. Feels like football royalty.
Dude, he's fast. His one run, he hit the second fastest mark in the NFL this year. I didn't know he had that kind of breakaway speed.
Man. I mean, like he just rumbles.
And I give credit because I have been harassing Kellen Moore about no adjustments. They were struggling in the first quarter. Fred Johnson, not great. And they were like, we're just going to pound it to you. Like, we can't even put ourselves in that situation. We're going to establish the run game. And they did, man.
Well, they have to. Like, we talk about who you are as a football team, right? How many times did they bring up identity? Like, what's your identity? Well, their identity is that of a ground and pound.
Yeah, and I know you guys got excited. We got Jalen Hurts under center. We got a fullback because I was so excited to see those couple plays under center running the ball.
Why? I mean, how many times did we ask for
Yes.
that? I mean, like, this isn't novel. Like, this is what's back. So, I think you got to get the quarterback on board.
Yes.
Right? Like, I think you kind of understand that part of the offensive struggles are on the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, he's got
I agree.
Like, even yesterday, you didn't need him to make plays. I mean, the one throw he can make, he can throw you down the field a dime to A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
But he missed guys again. He didn't, again, it was 10 for 14, so there wasn't a lot you needed from him. But he still has a long way to go before you think that, you can win in January playing this way.
Good, clean game, no turnovers. Jalen. Although, what?
I mean, stop.
Dude, what? What is going through the Giants?
You can't miss guys like that and give me like Jalen.
Dude, why would the Giants ever leave him, A.J. Brown, one-on-one?
Dude.
Well, it's the dopiest thing I've ever seen
why?
from a defensive coordinator. No, I don't know.
Well, because you really need to work because you're worried about Barkley. You're worried about trying to stop the run. So when you bring extra guys in the box, you're going to get matchups.
Well, that touchdown, I think it was Baldy may have had the breakdown on the 4th and 3 past A.J. Brown. The safety goes to cover Calcaterra across the middle.
Well, middle of the field.
Why A.J. Brown's wide open.
Yeah. Well, that's when you get zone. When you're playing zone like that, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's a bad call. But
yeah,
good win.
It was a good win.
Outside the first quarter, last 3 quarters were good. Great.
Yes.
Defense was good first quarter, but from the second quarter on, they were cruising.
I mean, here's the good thing is, you needed to win that game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. You need to look good, feel good for yourself, not for us. I mean, I'm not talking style points, but I'm talking about playing well. Right. So 28-3 is great, but it goes beyond that. You played a crisp, and you played really well on defense. You had an advantage, and you were able to impose your will on that advantage. And that, again, that's a big deal. Like no Andrew Thomas is a big deal on the left side. You take away their left tackle, you were able to capitalize on. That was big, and it's great for confidence for the young front. Like you need that front.
Yeah, we're missing people too. I mean, Mile is a big miss. I think both sides.
We're missing people.
Yeah, man.
We are.
Yeah.
You are.
Today,
they
on
are.
victory
You
days,
are.
we are. Only on days when we win. When they lose, they lose.
And also point on the
That's a
defensive line.
violation.
Also point on the defensive line too. They also hurt us as well because Milton Williams got more snaps than Jordan Davis. Looks like Milton Williams had 47% of the snaps. Yeah, and then Jordan Davis only had 21% of the snaps, and I think that's the right move.
How many? What was the number?
Milton had 27 snaps, and Jordan Davis had himself 12. So, tells you what you need to know there.
12 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
12 snaps.
Yeah.
How about that?
The only Georgia guy not eating was the big guy.
Yeah.
Everyone else played well.
Dude, how great is it for Barkley? Outgained the entire Giants in yardage. His yardage was more than the Giants' entire team combined.
Listen.
That's crazy.
I think the takeaway is this is how you have to play going forward.
We all know that.
All right? How many times did I say from the beginning of the season, your identity should be ground and pound?
Yes.
As much as we want it, are they happy as an organization being that way?
I think they're happy 28-3.
You have to.
I think that makes you happy. I think that's got to suffice. I think you have to win by running the football. I mean, that's just what it is. You got to, and again, that's where you use A.J. Brown and Devontae as complementary pieces, right? But you got to.
They're expensive complementary pieces.
Well, it doesn't matter, man. Listen. Look, AJ still helped seal the game for you. Like he had big plays down the field. Devontae, though, 1 for -2.
Dude, it is kind of comical. The offense is Barkley, A.J. Brown. And, that's perfect, but that's the only throw he's making is to A.J. Brown for the most part, unless
that goes back to the quarterback, right? It goes back to the quarterback.
Yeah.
The quarterback He's got major holes. Like, I mean, let's be real here.
No,
if we're
you're
gonna be
right,
honest with you, he's got major things. He can make a couple throws that you feel great about. Like, he throws it on a dime. Like, he threw down the field along the sidelines. He throws it on a dime.
Dude in his grill, back foot, perfect throw.
I mean, that's a drop in the bucket, right? Like, you drop that thing, it comes down, it lands in a bucket. That's what he makes that throw all day. But there's a lot of things that he's missing, that he's late. Devontae's right in front of him, and he doesn't pull the trigger. I'm like, dude, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. It's 28-3, so nobody wants to dive into the pool of negativity, right? Like, that's I don't want to do it.
It feels like you're sticking your toe in there.
Right? I don't want to do it.
Big toes in there.
Listen, you want to be real, or you want to just sit there with an eagle hat with pom-poms on? Because you can dance like Swoop.
I don't have those kind of moves, but I mean, I have to stretch them all. I need to stretch out. I don't want to pull a hammy, but
you got
give me my pom-poms
there's
today.
a story.
Pom-poms today.
There's a story of every game, and the story is a great story, which is why the first 15 minutes of the show you cover the great story. Which the lead is Saquon. On the day he goes back to face his old team, right? He shows you in a big way of what he can do. Mm-hmm. And then it's the young Georgia boys, right? It's the young defense. And it's Vic Fangio and that defense that harasses a beleaguered front. Mm-hmm. That's the story. Now, as you get into each of the subplots, moving forward, and how good can this team be? We all expect playoffs and making a run. Well, to make a run and to be in the playoffs, you have to know what you do best. And that also includes judging the quarterback on what the quarterback can do. And the truth of the matter is, he did not execute well. No. The truth of the matter is, he did miss guys again. Like, that's on. You got to be honest when you're assessing it. Now, you point out that he can make a couple really good throws down the field. But you need to, if you're going to be real about things, and going forward, you got to address it.
I mean, like, dude, look what he's got. He's got a really good offensive line. Look at the weapons we just talked about. Everything.
He's got everything a quarterback would need. I mean, if you're going to be, we're going to talk about it, he's got everything a quarterback would need. He needs to learn how to process. Now, we'll give him the benefit of this the first time he's calling, protections. There's a lot on him. There's all that stuff. All right, but you got to see it. You got to see some sort of improvement through the year.
But the inability to see the field consistently. This is something we talked about before last year, and we're still talking about this. Yes. I don't know if he can fix that.
I know.
And that's
he needs
scary.
A teacher, a good teacher, like the guy teaching that young kid in Washington, that Brian Johnson, one heck of a quarterback coach down there in Washington. Dude. That kid's flourishing under that guy.
Listen, Swoop. My man needs to be a better student. All right.
Ooh,
I mean, my man needs to actually embrace things and embrace playing quarterback the right way.
You think that head of Jalen's a little too big?
I don't know what it is. I don't know the guy,
I'm just trying to understand. I'm trying to look at
I don't know the guy. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is from what I hear and from what I see, he needs to. What are you laughing at?
Oh, yeah, JP asked if his head was too big. I was getting Frazier to bring this over for me.
Oh, that's great.
All right, maybe it is a little bit too big.
Hey, Moody.
Because I'm going to be better, all right? Listen, I can read the field all right.
Do us a favor, all right? For the playoffs, all right? Like, big games, big teams. Just learn, progress. Be open to the offense, all right, buddy?
I got you. Man. No more charting.
Give me a pound. Give me a pound, Jalen. That's good. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Oh, man.
The Jalen head is priceless.
That was good, Frazier.
It's actually it's priceless. All right, lots to get to today. Big NFL day, as you know. And then World Series, man. Dodgers.
Mets lose. Jets lose. Giants lose. Such a great day yesterday.
Oh, my God.
OMG.
No, my God.
Oh, yeah.
No, my God. That's awesome,
NMG is
dude.
great. Grimace is dead.
The Grimace.
Grimace
It's over.
dead.
OMG's over.
I want
all
Grimace
of it.
dead.
Cracking
Done.
mess.
No, it's great. You know what was awesome last night?
What's that?
Watching Rodgers, like his face constantly. I have to like. I took it like first of all, the story of Russell Wilson coming back. It was awesome. It was fantastic. Beating the Jets and Russ throwing his moon balls.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fantastic last
I
night.
saw Reddit coming back to what 2 and 4
Oh my
team, 2
God,
and
I
5
forgot
team.
about that too. Coming to an agreement.
I know. That's
Devontae
amazing.
Adams losing to the Steelers twice, back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a great record.
It was
to have.
classic. Like watching the game. It was a great day of football. Man, the Chiefs. Oh my God, dude. They are real. We'll get into it. We'll go through the league, but they're so well coached.
Yeah.
How they go in it now, Debo is sick. So that was a big miss. And Purdy got exposed as the Spags exposed Purdy yesterday. Oh my God.
Dude, also like that is the Chiefs are amazing, but it is amazing what the Steelers are doing. That kind of thing. There's
I
a really
agree.
well coached team as well, man, because they're struggling at the quarterback position. They're 5-2.
It's almost like coaching's important. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I enjoy. I like watching that team. All right, lots to get to. Z Berm, day after, always joins us. He'll be coming up next. As can't lose sight of it. It's all about Saquon. Today's about Saquon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Saquon.
He won a referendum game. That was a Saquon referendum game.
Isn't there, when you think about a face of the city, he's a face of the city you
Yes,
love.
sir.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little new, but yeah.
No,
yeah,
I'm saying like
getting
the
there.
way he is.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
the way he handles himself.
Yeah.
Like he's a true prince.
He's like a statesman.
He is.
Yeah.
He is. And he's great.
He's
All right.
awesome.
Take it away, my man.
You got it.
What do we
cuz.
got going on?
Well, what we got is we're trying to keep up with our finances here. With our friends over at TrueMark Financial, we're creating some healthy financial habits. And with our friends over at TrueMark Financial, we're going to make it happen, all right? And so listen, you guys want to make sure that you have that money management tool with TrueMark because in today's day and age, we're just trying to improve upon our finances. And with this tool, it makes it much more simpler to keep track of everything that's going on. Especially, look, if you were up in North Jersey, look, you racked up some money, right? You definitely spent a pretty penny. And so with TrueMark Financial, you'll be able to monitor all all the spending that you did over the weekend. I think it's really helpful because you just want to make sure you're continuously monitoring that. And even better, like you brought your young ones, listen, you want to create those financial responsibility with them at a young age. It's never too early to start those discussions. And the app like we're talking about, it's super, super easy, super convenient as well. But my favorite feature on there is you can actually lock your card if you happen to go through that heart attack. If you're at MetLife, you thought you lost your credit or debit card, just lock it right in the app. It's super convenient. Right? And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like some more information, if you want to start your credit union career here today, all you got to do is one of two things. Visit TrueMark.com/PHLY or 24 branches in the Philadelphia area. You can walk in, ask any question you may be having, and you can start your credit union career right then and there. TrueMark Financial is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal opportunity lender. Big shout out to our friends over at TrueMark Financial.
Those New Yorkers, they might want to get a vaccine against losing after yesterday. And where can they get these vaccines? Rite Aid. Yeah. Rite Aid. Protect yourself and your family by staying up to date on all your immunizations. Rite Aid pharmacists are specially trained, certified immunizers. And most vaccines are no cost through insurance and government plans like Medicare Part D. They got a ton of different vaccinations for you. Tetanus, whooping cough, chickenpox, RSV, a contagious seasonal virus that affects the respiratory tract. COVID-19 vaccines still available. That's the thing still floating around. And shingles. You do not want shingles. It's a painful rash caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox. It usually develops on one side of your face or body, and it is not fun. Select Rite Aid stores have a dedicated pharmacist ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. Have questions on what immunizations you need? Not sure if you're up to date? You feeling nervous to ask questions? Those pharmacists will take care of you at Rite Aid. They take the time to make personalized recommendations based on your health history, and they'll discuss any concerns you have. No questions are too small. Just walk in and schedule an appointment Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. State, age, and health restrictions may apply. Ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for details.
All right, buddy. Just making sure we're good because Devon's going to join us at 10:30.
Let's go.
It's the NBA. This is it. This is
Wednesday, baby.
The association begins actually tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The league opens tomorrow, and then we got the Sixers on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Flyers tomorrow, the early 6 o'clock game.
Yeah, rough one on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, coming back from the
road
trip. Yeah.
Right.
You looked asleep.
NHL did them no favors with that opening schedule.
No.
Not at all.
And nor the fans' hometown for that first opening game.
I know. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah, it was, cuz.
But lots to get to. What was the crowd like Saturday night?
It looked solid until, after the Canucks put 3 on you.
I know.
Started circling away.
I know.
You'll be all right.
Just when we're giving Torts his props.
Stop.
He's got Coots on the fourth line now.
We may have a defensive problem now.
Coots on the fourth line.
Yeah. That one, and you saw that against the Kraken too.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, also too, because they couldn't get a shot on goal to save their life, especially like Owen Tippett.
Well, Tippett's it's bizarre.
Everything.
I like Tippett, right?
Yeah.
But man, he's the gang that couldn't shoot straight. Man, they got to get him. Got to get him on line.
Eric Johnson,
on
that
net.
sitter. Oh.
All right, time now to visit every Monday morning with our man who does such a great job covering the birds for all PHLY Eagles. He's our man, Z Berman, Zachariah. Good morning, Zach.
Okay, good morning. Good talking to you guys.
So, man, Barkley, let's get right to it. It was just a beautiful, but it was the Saquon Bowl. He says all the right things. He's just a prince. Like, he's a great player. He's an elegant runner. He purports himself perfectly.
Yeah, well said. And you knew this was a big deal to him, right? He downplayed it during the week, but he also didn't dismiss the reality of the history there, what's going on with this game. And you knew for a few reasons yesterday that the Eagles were going to rely on him. The Giants entered the game with the most sacks in the NFL. The Eagles are missing their left tackle, right? It made sense for the Eagles to rely on the ground game. But you saw what Saquon provided. It really was an example of why the Eagles were so aggressive in pursuing him. Think about this, okay? The Eagles have not had a run of 50-plus yards since Nick Sirianni's been here. They've had good running backs. They haven't had a run of 50-plus yards. Saquon's done that 3 times this season, okay? Saquon has 3 games of 100-plus yards in his 6 games here. No running back's done that more than 3 times under Sirianni. So it really shows you, like, the Eagles thought that they had
times, dude, where it looked like he was going to break more. I mean, it was
exactly.
unbelievable. It felt like he could have ran for 300 yesterday.
Yeah, and I even asked Nick that post game because he was 14 yards away from setting his career high. There were still 10 minutes left in the game. He could have done it on one series. And Nick, you probably saw it on TV, sat down with Saquon. They talked about it. Nick laid this out to Saquon, asked him if he wanted to do it. Saquon said, "Let the other guys eat." I think the point was made pretty clear. When Saquon was driving in on the team bus, he saw the Giants fans burning his jerseys. I'm there in the stadium. You hear them booing every time he touched the ball, but he gets the last laugh after yesterday's game.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. It was funny. We had Paul Schwartzel from the Post, and he said that he thought that they were going to boo him. And I'm kind of surprised because I don't think – let me ask you guys a question. If the roles are reversed and the athlete wanted to come back but the organization did not offer the contract, how would we handle it? Someone as beloved as Saquon, I think we would have cheered.
I don't. I found it hard to believe that they were booing.
I did
didn't
too.
see a reason to boo it.
Right.
We have video evidence that they screwed them.
Like when you look at the facts, the facts suggest, right? Like no, you know it, right? It was the Giants moving on. Saquon wanted to play there. You can say you want. Well, he should have took the money 2 years ago. The contract. Still, he made no bones about it, and he wanted to stay. So I found it odd that they were going after him at every play,
too. Jason Worth situation similar? I mean, we did boo Jason Worth. I never understood booing him.
But Barkley was Barkley's their Utley. Worth is, wasn't what Barkley is to the Giants, right, Zach?
No, I agree with you. I think the Jason Ward thing makes sense as far as like the player wanted to stay, but he got paid more elsewhere. But I think about it, my senior year in college, Allen Iverson comes back with the Nuggets first game back. I drove home from Syracuse so I could be at that game because Iverson was such a big part of my youth, right? Like if you're a Giants fan, Saquon did everything you could have wanted there. He wanted to be a Giant for life. He made that abundantly clear. Joe Shane, I think, screwed that one up. He bet on the wrong horse. He bet on Daniel Jones. You've seen how that worked out. I remember in 2022, AJ has that big game against the Titans. AJ wanted to be a Titan for life. Then John Robinson was fired 2 days later, right? I don't know if that's going to happen with Joe Shane here, but I don't think they handled that situation the way they should have.
No, but again, it goes back to it. Now, this is who they were. I mean, this is who the Eagles are, right? Like, you saw it yesterday. They're their best when they're – how many times I tell you about being a downhill team? That's who they are. I mean, look at the interior line and how it blocked. I loved how the offensive line blocked in the run game.
You bring up a good point. Now, the thing is this. They spent $200 million on A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and they didn't do it to throw 14 times a game, right? So I don't think it's going to be like that every week, but certainly when it calls for it, when you're able to do it, when you can impose your will on the other team, and that's what they did. And they controlled the tempo of the game, and it happened from both sides. And I think the fact that they ran the ball so well obscures the other part of yesterday, which was they were 1 of 13 on third down, right? I mean, this passing game has some work it needs to do, but when you can hang your hat on the running game,
honest, the quarterback has a lot of work to do. And the reason why you're a downhill run team, and that's your identity, because I'm a pass first person. In this day and age, I think you got to be able to throw. But I mean, other than down the field, A.J. Brown along the sidelines, which he'll drop it in a bucket every time. He can make that throw in his sleep. Other than that, he's got a lot of improving to do.
You're right. Now, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think it's sustainable to be a big play passing attack or a big play offense to rely on these deep shots, or do you think it needs to be the high efficiency in order to be a successful passing offense?
Again, like when you're playing good defenses. Now all of a sudden, I mean, Giants' defense is good, but look at the tenor of that game. Let's face it, it finally wore down, right? Like when you're facing good football teams, right, that are going to be on the field, like you're going to play Detroit, and they have an offense, and it's you got to keep up and the whole thing. Oh, you need to make plays, man. You just can't be run and then go deep like you're the 1977 Oakland Raiders with Ken Stabler.
No, you're right, and I would compare it to the Phillies, right? Like you can't just rely on the home run. You need to get on base, right? And I think this offense needs to get more layups to Devontae Smith, right? You need to see the quick passes to Devontae.
I mean, there it is with a crosser wide open right in front of the quarterback, and the quarterback doesn't throw the ball.
It's a valid point. You hit it on the head there. So Jalen in the passing offense does need to play better. You can get by against the Giants, rushing for 200 plus yards, only throwing 14 times. And frankly, there's a number of teams on the schedule you can do that against. But if you're going to win in January, you need to be able to pass the ball more effectively than they have.
Dude, I think you're spot on. But again, you can only do it. You can only look at your strengths.
Sure.
You may have to be creative with your offense. It's funny. I watched the Chiefs yesterday, right? Like you look at what Andy does, and Andy's such a brilliant coach, and he loses. He's lost everybody, right? So he's got Kareem Hunt off the street. He's got receivers off the street, and you watch the way they do it. Like it's play design, it's play calling. Like he's grinding it. And he's got Mahomes, right?
It's the quarterback too. Yeah.
Who even on a bad day like he had yesterday, still does things like he does that little flip on the outside. He has to run. Like he'll do things to help you win. And that's, kind of now. it's funny. You give a lot of quarterbacks these weapons, and the offense looks completely different.
Sure. And it's a valid point, but to what you're saying about Andy, and I'll give the Eagles credit for this yesterday too, is the identity of the team is what it takes to win that day, right? And a different game calls for a different game plan. They were able to do it yesterday. I do think that you need to see more from Jalen and the passing game long term here. But like I said, it's a week by week league, and you have to put a game plan in place to win.
If you're talking identity,
yeah,
you can't be this. Like, I thought the offense should be a 30 a game offense, right? I mean, it just should be.
Yeah.
Like the way it's built. I mean, it's a Ferrari, right? But
yeah,
I don't know what the quarterback's issues are as far as he appears to be resistant to what the offense is, to what it's supposed to look like, what is going out of his comfort zone. It appears that's an issue. And I don't know what you do about that, not in this stage of his career.
Yeah, and I think it's about creating layups for him and him taking advantage of those. And I think that's where the sustained drives, it needs to be you need productive downs. You can't be playing behind the sticks. You can't be playing for fourth down every drive, right? You need productive early down plays. You need to get first down on second down, right? And I think that's where really the bulk of their work needs to happen during the next month is the efficiency that Jalen plays with.
Well, since we're talking about the offense, I want to get to the defense too, because that looked good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't want to. Again, I don't want to make this to be not a joyous Monday, because it is a joyous Monday, and it was great to see Saquon, which is why I lead with that. But if we're talking about the offense, we're talking about efficiency, we're talking big picture. I'll ask you, again, the first quarter, the first drive. Now, what do you attribute that to? Because their quarterback is changing plays too.
You're right. Look, I've been saying all along, this is Jalen's offense. More than Kellen's, more than Nick's. This is Jalen's offense. And yeah, I put a lot of it on Jalen. And look, he said they need to get that first down. They got the first down yesterday, and then it stalls thereafter. So I don't put it entirely on the opening script. I understand, Dan Orlovsky, I respect Dan, and he said last week that the start of the game's on the coaches, the end of the game's on the players, right? But I think that
not if you change your plays, the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and I think you got to hold Jalen accountable for some of these decisions, for whether his eyes are down when the rush is coming. There's only so much the coaches can do. Now, look, I'm not absolving the coaching staff, but I do put a lot of this on the quarterback, because when they make exceptional plays, I credit that to the quarterback too.
Agree. I agree with you. All right, defense. Man, that was a fun day. Now, I know no Andrew Thomas, and so the Giants' O-line is tattered. But, man, that was fantastic. Let's talk about Nakobe Dean, who was all over the field. 11 tackles, 2 sacks. He was fantastic. The whole front, man. The front was 8 yesterday.
You're absolutely right. And it's the way you need to play against a beat up offensive line. I think rushing coverage really married each other well.
Yes.
You mentioned Nakobe Dean, and I thought Vic Fangio did a good job. All their sacks were coming on 4-man rushes. So even when they had Dean rushing, they had someone else dropping. There was good disguise there. Speaking to Dean after the game, he said he's been showing a lot of power on film, so he was able to mix it up yesterday, and that helped him. I also thought too, and Vinny Curry on the PHLY Eagles postgame show made a great point. There was a Jalen Carter sack where Nolan Smith comes high, forces Daniel Jones to step up in the pocket. Jalen Carter cleans it up with the sack. You saw right afterward, Jalen Carter credits Nolan Smith for that. That's where the best case scenario of taking all these Georgia players is on top of the athletic ability that they have, right? The skill that they have is that they know how to play with each other. And you really saw that well. And speaking to Nakobe and Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter after the game, they pointed out just the way they know how to play with each other. And I think that was apparent. Josh Sweat said after the game that he thought he's been having productive rushes for the past 2 months here, but it finally comes to fruition yesterday. Look, it helps when you play against Daniel Jones. It helps when you play against Deshaun Watson last week. When you're playing against a quarterback who gets rid of the ball quickly, like Baker back in Tampa, it might look different. But when you have these games, you take advantage of it. Two consecutive weeks
will be the test, right? Next week when you got Burrow, that's going to be that'll be the test for you, right? Like they will see kind of where they're at. We'll judge them that unit after that. Now I will say, I agree with this point 100%. Great point about the rush marrying the coverage. Yeah. And man, the coverage was sensational yesterday. And I love those kids. I love Kenyon and Cooper.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And look, I don't mean to pile on Avonte Maddox. It's not a surprise to me though that this defense really kind of went to a different level when you put DeJean in there. I think Cooper DeJean's simply a better player, and what you're seeing is Quinyon and DeJean together really give this defense a skill level that they didn't have before.
Yeah, I love those kids. I got to tell you, they're such good football players. Like we took Mitchell's, he's such a polished player.
Yep.
Man, it's hard to play corner. In the NFL, as a rookie, man, you get exposed constantly. I remember they were talking about him, and he made a mistake. It was a rookie mistake early. I forget. I think it was against Tampa or Atlanta, one or the other. But, you expect that. This kid is such a polished player. I love those two, man. I think you got two great building blocks in the secondary.
He's so sticky in coverage, and he gets his hand on the football so often. He's going to get a pick at some point here, right? I was talking to Slay about this 2 weeks ago, and Slay said that a big adjustment from college to the NFL is you don't have the white stripe on the ball, so you see it later in the NFL than you do in college. So typically you see more PBUs early in a guy's career, and then you see the interceptions come on as they get more used to it. He's around the ball so often that I got to imagine that's about to come.
PBUs. I love it. I love that.
Exactly. With Cooper playing so well, and he's returning. He's fantastic on the punt returns. Is there a roster spot for Britton Covey when he comes back?
Yes. Yeah. I still expect Covey to be the punt returner. Really? They like Covey in that role. I see what you mean about DeJean. And I like DeJean there. I also think that I would be curious about DeJean on kickoff returns. I think that's a spot where he can help too. But I would expect Covey to get back to being punt returner. We'll see though, because DeJean does give you.
I love DeJean doing it, man. I tell you, I love that kid. I love that kid. I got partial to the Hawkeyes. You're a defensive player from Iowa. I'm in.
Yeah. He's only going to get better, right? I mean, I love that pick on the second day of the draft. I thought they were going to consider him at 22. I know they looked at him at 22.
Yeah.
This looks out that these first two picks, I think the Eagles hit on both of them, to be honest with you.
I agree. I'm with you. Hey, what now, Jordan Davis, how many snaps did you say? JP?
12, I believe.
11?
12?
12. I believe 12 snaps. Yeah. Part of that, I spoke to Jordan Davis after the game. They expected the Giants to run the ball more. Frankly, maybe if they had Saquon, they would have run the ball more. But it's in the fronts that they played, they were playing more of the nickel looks, and they like some of the other interior guys more there in those nickel looks. In the 5-man fronts, you'll see more Jordan Davis. They kind of got away from that as the game went on. And part of that might have been game script, but I think part of that was just the way they were playing in nickel.
Yeah. I listen, I would agree. Jalen Carter, though, my God.
Oh yeah.
You just see him certain plays, and man, I mean, you just know at some point when it all clicks and he's consistent, he'll be unstoppable.
You're right, and look, Vic Fangio doesn't take him off the field. And I think that says something here. For as long as I've been around the Eagles, They like to rotate these guys, keep them fresh. Vic Fangio's approach is different. You saw how many snaps Christian Wilkins played last year in Miami. That's the way they're using Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the ultimate sign of respect from Vic Fangio. He is so tough to block.
Yeah.
And you're just seeing it week in, week out now. You saw it against Cleveland last week. You saw it yesterday against the Giants. I don't see it slowing down. And talking to him after the game, he's not particularly impressed by the way he's playing either. So I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so let's take inventory, take stock. Here you are, 4-2. Who are they in your eyes as far as a contender is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be right in the mix there. I don't think they're the Lions. I think the Lions are just a better all-around team right now. But I look in the NFC. Look, San Francisco, they're losing Ayuk now. That's a team that's dealing with some issues. I think the Eagles now. Washington looks legit, and I'm looking forward to getting. We'll see Washington here in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think week 11. So
I don't know what. Did you hear about the severity of the ribs for Jaden?
Of Jaden Daniels? Yeah. I have not. I'll look more into that. But the way Washington's playing, you can't dismiss it. I still think the Eagles win the division, and I still think they're going to be in the mix among the final teams in the NFC. I would take Detroit over them, but the Eagles are 4-2, and AJ Brown did not play 3 of those games, right? And when AJ's been on the field, he scored a touchdown every game. That's not a surprise to me. He's playing like one of the best receivers in the league. There's more to what the encouraging part of yesterday is this, and this is really the difference between the Eagles yesterday and the Eagles last year, is I think a sign of a good team is what you do against bad teams. And last year, the Eagles never won a game by 20-plus points, right? I think they did it 5 times in 2022, and they didn't do it at all last year. The most they won last year was by 14 points. And so to really blow out a team, I think that says something. And the Giants are a bad team. I get it. But how you play against bad teams matters. And if the Eagles can keep doing this against those teams, I think it's a good sign.
I like it. 2:00 today, buddy?
2:00, Bo and me. We're breaking down the game. A lot to look at.
Love it. We'll be watching. Great stuff,
Thanks, guys.
Zachariah.
Talk to you guys soon.
Here he is, Zach Berman, all PHLY Birds.
Zach.
This portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino Online app. Now the ambassador of the of the Bet Parks app. What hat is he wearing today?
Oh boy,
the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
There it is.
It's my Lake Tahoe hat. The Lake Tahoe.
He's going Tahoe.
It is great. Some people have hats with teams. He just has resorts.
Yeah.
Breakers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the resort hat guy.
Oh, my God. God bless you, buddy. God bless you. All right. A lot to unfold from the weekend. It was a wild
For sure.
We'll start local, obviously, and Birds all over the Giants and Barkley. It's the Barkley. We thought it would be the Barkley game, and it was.
Yeah, listen, that was the exact, as an Eagles fan, that was the exact, like the Cleveland game, you wanted to see something you really didn't. This was the exact game you most wanted to see. You wanted to see a Giants team that would be without Andrew Thomas, that would just get destroyed their offensive line.
That's
It
right.
did. You wanted to see Saquon Barkley run roughshod. He did. You wanted to see A.J. Brown have a really good game. He did. Now, Devonta Smith's been a little out of it a little bit, but they absolutely destroyed this team. Yeah, that's true. Yes. It's funny because Jalen to me still is missing, and I'm glad they pointed it out when you've seen it. He still has been missing throws.
You think?
It seemed like they're there,
Yeah.
but they destroyed a bad team here, right? That's what it is. But that's what you need to do in the NFL. You got to just win that game and go to the next game. I agree with you, Anthony. You said this next game against Cincinnati is going to be a lot more challenging. I think it's a 2.5-point line right now for the Bengals. I think the total sitting at 46.5. So that's going to be a much more challenging game. But look, they did what they were supposed to do. It's funny, there was 4 games this week in the NFL, Anthony, I loved. I was right on 2. I was wrong on 2. I love San Francisco. They just got – Purdy just kept throwing interceptions in the end zone.
I think I think two things there. One, you were unlucky because I agreed with you, but I thought you were unlucky that Debo gets ill.
First play.
I mean, he was ill in warm-ups. Like it just sickness came about, hit him. And I think they missed him terribly, right? And you saw.
Oh, they can't win with that. It's amazing.
Hurt, right? So, I thought that was what killed. And then, Andy and Spags were just great. They're just great.
The best. And then I really like the Texans Green Bay against Texans. I watched that game. I didn't think the Texans got a first down the entire game, and somehow I lost the bet. I mean, CJ Stroud threw for 50 yards. I lost the bet. I watched that game. It just took everything for me to lose. And I never focused on the wins. It's the losses. I was right on that game. Just didn't go my way. But look, credit to Andy Reid again. Like they did it again. It's amazing to me that they just keep finding. I don't think they're that good. That's the honest. I mean, they have a great defense. Their defense is incredible. I mean, their defense is really, really strong. But when I watch them, I'm just every single time I'm like, God, I feel like it's almost like if you're playing someone in tennis doesn't hit the ball that hard, and you feel like you should be able to beat them, but they just place the ball perfectly, and they're just annoying, but they beat you. To me, the Chiefs, I watch them, I'm just like, I think that they should be beaten, but credit to them.
Little things, and that's where the quarterback, who's got no weapons. I mean, let's face it, right? He's got an aging Kelsey, right? He's got a young Worthy's his only speed guy, and then that's it. Really, when you think about it.
Yeah, it's Trek.
And he makes it work. Like he somehow, and listen, he didn't have the best day. Threw a couple picks, the whole thing.
No, he wasn't.
But when it comes to money plays, he little pitch or a fake this and a move here, and he just knows how to win, man.
No, he does. No, there's no question about it. He knows how to win. Look, and hearing Zach talk about the Eagles, look, I agree. Look, the NFC, look, I'm going to say it, Anthony, I'm going to call it now. I'm sticking a fork on the 49ers. I just don't see them as a viable threat. I really don't. Maybe I'm calling this way too early, but I think losing Ayuk is a big thing.
I think it's early. I do. I think it's early. I mean, they're just, banged up. You got to see who they get back.
Right.
What happens. I still think they have the bones. They do have the bones of a good team. I'm not ready to bury them. No, they're not who we thought they could be, but I don't want to bury them.
Listen, to me, though, it's the three teams in the NFC North and probably the Eagles. To me, and that's how I see it. I see Minnesota. I mean, the Minnesota game was I don't know if you watched that game.
I watched. Yeah,
that was Sam Darnold. I thought played really well.
I mean, obviously, I didn't go back yet watch any of the Eagles were playing. So, but then they went right to the game. And I saw the end of it, but I can't wait to go back and rewatch that. That thing, my God.
I got to tell you something that Coach Campbell did, which really frustrated me. I was rooting for the Lions. Let me ask you a question, Anthony. There was like 30 seconds left in the game, or about a minute. There was the situation where they were going to basically kick a field goal in the last play of the game. So what they did was they were at the 19-yard line. So it was going to be, I'm sorry, like the 20-yard line. They were at the 20-yard line of Minnesota. So what they did was they took 3 straight plays of Goff, losing 2 to 3 yards a play. So they made a 37-yard field goal, a 45-yard field goal. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not a chip shot. A 45-yard field goal is not like, it's not, I mean, that's not automatic. Why are you making your field goal kicker go back 8 yards? He made it. But that angered me watching the game. I just thought that was a potential.
The only argument I can make is nowadays, 45 yards in the dome, I mean, it's almost like an extra point.
Well, it's probably, Anthony, and I could look up the data, and I'll say pretty confident I'm right on this, it probably affects it at least 10%, which is pretty significant. And I'm just saying, why even do that?
I'm stretching back. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, listen. I'm not quibbling with you. You always want to be closer, but 30.
Why not just 40, take why not
8 yards in the dome?
Look, they won.
I'm just not picking. That won't be my hill to die on.
I mean, if he missed the field goal, it would have been your hill to die on. I'll leave it at that. If he misses that field goal, it just hits the upright because it was
arguing with you. I'm just saying, whatever. I guess he didn't want to imperil. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, just taking the name.
Yeah, but anyway, look, I understand they won the game. It's irrelevant. But anyway, but going back to the Eagles, again, at least they did what you wanted. And Anthony, you're right. Look, Jalen Carter was done. They had so many sacks. It was the exact performance you wanted to see, again, against a bad team. But now, again, you want to see it against better competition. And look, Bengals were 1-4, got off the mat. They're not a great team, but they're, it's certainly a team that has weapons with Higgins and, of course, Jamar Chase. And this isn't going to be this should be, look, I think this is the best game of the week, quite honestly.
That's great.
There was so many
it's a great game. The games
game.
were amazing. Dude, how about, we were both wrong on this one. Georgia.
To Texas?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I got my wish because I was screaming for Arch. Come on, Arch. Come on, bring Arch in. And, he was
didn't see it. Look, credit to them. Credit to them. Look, you got to give Georgia credit. I got to tell you, Coach Smart afterwards, though, did you see that interview with him? He's like, they cheated against us. They're cheating their butts off, and we still won.
Yeah. Well, they kept
what's
falling down fake injuries to slow them
down. But let
down.
me ask you a question. He's talking about the pass interference planning. I want to get your take on that real quick. Did you see the play where they called pass interference? It was returned. Texas returned the ball and then they waved off the pass interference. Did you remember the play? They waved it off. They took back. They picked Georgia. The flag up? They picked the flag up because it was an interception that led to a Texas touchdown. They returned it like 50 yards to the 5-yard line. And then they did the thing and they showed it really wasn't an interference, but that's not a reviewable play. Right. And so what they did was they picked up the flag kind of like after internal discussion among the officials. Yeah. I'm pretty sure someone got it in their ear saying, dudes, you got this one wrong. Come up with some excuse. Yeah. And Smart was furious.
Yeah, he was. Sometimes you feel like, because you're right. They should not pick the flag. You just can't pick it.
No, it was.
I love how they do that now. There is no flag for pass interference.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
It's like they gather and the other guys are like, what are you looking at? Are you crazy? It wasn't a foul. Come on.
No, really? Somebody's buzzing in from New York. Say we just saw it. No, not pass interference.
Yes.
How about VG's Vol, the Tennessee Vols?
Our Vols.
All right. Yeah, look, that one I did get right. Tennessee in the under did come through, but Tennessee. Look, Alabama's not, again. There's just so much parity here. There's just so much parity in college football. It's crazy, and you that was a great atmosphere. I enjoyed watching that game as well. But look, this year's college football is the most balanced, close teams I can recall seeing. There's not one team that stands out.
Dude, my boys got annihilated.
I didn't see that coming either.
Oh, I didn't see that either. Huskers got Indiana. Wow, they just laid it open up.
Indiana, man.
Matt got a flag, 15-yarder too. Yeah,
it was 56-7.
Yeah, wow. For yelling
what do you get the flag for?
Yelling at the refs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, Indiana's obviously
they're good.
You got to get that.
Oh my God, they destroyed them. Dylan Raiola had nothing. And the kid's a player, but wow,
it wasn't his night. And I was fortunate that line did not go to 7. I was waiting for that to go to 7. I definitely like the Nebraska side for sure there. And give Indiana credit. They absolutely took them to the woodshed in every single way, shape, and form. And this Indiana team, God, let's be honest, look, they have a real Penn State and Ohio State are considered, and Oregon, right, are considered like these 3 teams that are just, elite. But Indiana, look, Indiana's round. He probably played just as well as any of them. They just don't have the name, right? They don't have the brand, but they're playing quite well.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. Tonight, doubleheader Monday.
Sure.
With a great one, Baltimore and Tampa, followed by Arizona and the Chargers. Any plays in this?
Yeah, well, the Baltimore-Tampa game, it's funny. I like Tampa Bay here, Anthony, getting 3.5. Again, the key to me here is getting that extra half point. And I think, again, I think they have a real chance to win this game outright. I think Tampa Bay is a good team. I actually really do. And again, how much better do I think Baltimore is than Tampa Bay? I really don't know, to be honest with you. Obviously, they have Lamar, who's phenomenal, but this was a Baltimore team. Now, again, maybe they're going to do what Georgia did, right? Last week, I was on the same airwaves. I was saying Georgia's defense has not been consistent enough for me to back them. Same thing with Baltimore's defense. They just really haven't had one good outing. So I'm saying to myself, okay, they've been bad every single spot. Tampa Bay actually has a good offense. I just can't trust their defense laying 3.5 on the road. I do like the over as well, though, guys. I think both teams should have success offensively. I really, really do. I think both teams, the over-under right now in parts is sitting at 50. I think both teams should score at least in the mid-20s personally. And I do like Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay has a real good chance to win this one outright. And I think I just think it's a little bit too high. I think they're getting a little bit too much respect.
Well, I like it. I agree. I think you're right. Are you like under in the Chargers and Arizona?
It's funny. Actually, that's been bet up. The total was like 43. It's been bet up to 44 by some sharps. I don't like the over in that game, actually. I actually lean under. The line's gone from 2.5 down to 1 for the Chargers. I think that's a tough game. I really do. I think the Chargers are a very non-talented team that relies on good coaching, which, and look, you see what happens with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh doesn't, I don't think that's the most talented team, but with a good coach, they're playing great. I do like Ladd McConkey under, I think they made him 4.5 receptions, getting plus 118 on the park site right now. He's only gone over, he's averaging about 3.5 catches. I think 4.5 is a little bit too high. And his over under, I think, was 53.5 yards. He's only gone over that once all year. So to me, again, a little bit too high for Ladd McConkey, even though he is their de facto number one receiver. This is a Chargers team, Anthony, that is, I wouldn't, again, you have a team that has Justin Herbert. You would think that Justin Herbert would just, you see Josh Allen doesn't have these weapons. He's still great. Justin Herbert really hasn't done anything of real note because they took away, again, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. Not that that was the wrong move because those guys were getting older and they brought in Ladd McConkey, good player for them. But that's a tough game for me, the side. I lean under and I like the McConkey unders.
All right, there you go. My brother, tomorrow, an association preview. Will it be to a NBA, baby? I'm sure you already got props that you like.
Yeah, I've already gotten some stuff in the NBA. Sure, I have some props already. Of course, I already bet them. I'll give you now. I'll give you tomorrow. Up to you.
We'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it great. All right, brother. Have a great day. As always, Brain. Good stuff.
Be good, guys.
There he is, the Brain. NBA tomorrow.
I love you called the association.
I love the association. I do. I love it.
He's proud, man. The Sixers are right in there. Celtics are plus 300, and then it's everyone else is plus 700, plus 800. Right where the Sixers are.
Well, that's it. On the BetParks Sportsbook and Casino app, let's talk about it, right? The association. It does. It begins tomorrow. A handful of games in the league, and then scissors on Wednesday. Sixers, Bucks. Nobody's going to play, but, at least it gets underway, all right? So that'll be fun. I just can't wait for it. I love hoops. There's something during the week. It is a lot of fun. Check out the BetParks online sportsbook and casino app. And, we just said it. In fact, the Birds are a dog on Sunday in Cincinnati. You can play that. We got the World Series about to commence. You have that going on. NBA, NA, Flyers, Caps tomorrow night. I like the Flyers tomorrow night. I can see them. They're live. All of it right there on the BetParks online sportsbook casino. And don't forget, make your downtime fun time. Where you're watching a game, there's always another way to win. So you got blackjack, live dealer blackjack. You got roulette, craps, baccarat like VG likes to play, all the hot slots. Right there. And in fact, new users, if you're down in the first 24 hours, get up to $1,000 casino bonus back. BetParks.com has all the details. Listen, check it out. All the stuff you got going on. It's great sports time. All the games going on. It's the best. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Maryland, Michigan. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Love it. All right. Well, listen, Cuz got you covered with the betting. So we got to talk right now about her flooring. All right. I got you covered with the flooring. Because listen, be fully transparent. This past week, and I had that conversation with the wife. And my wife's like, listen, babe, the floor in the bathroom needs to be changed. It hasn't been changed since the 1980s. We have like this old like pink and black tile, which, listen, for some, cool. For others, yeah, it might be time to update it. So I'm like, babe, you know what? You're right. So we decided we're going to start looking in the Empire today because, listen, they're only going to put the best stuff in our floors. And listen, we're trying to have our floor last as long as the floor right now has lasted since probably the 80s. So we're going to look into Empire today. And some of our favorite stuff about Empire today is that it provides at-home convenience, all right? They bring you the right product for your needs in your home with professional installation so you don't have to worry about it. You can sit back and relax while they put only the best in your home. And the best part about it too, look, they obviously have competitors, all right? Like we all know that there's competitors in this industry. So what some of the other competitors will offer is low quality, but they're going to say, hey, we're saving you money. Empire State is not going to do that because they're only going to put quality flooring in your home the same way they would put it in your home, all right? So what are you waiting for? Schedule your free in-home estimate here today, and our listeners right now can receive up to a $350 off discount. That's a lot, guys. Only Empire Today is doing that. Make sure you're using that promo code PHLY. Keep in mind that restrictions do apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHLY. Do what I'm doing right now. We're going to see our friends over at Empire.
Empire Today. Yes. All right. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY to find out the credit union difference. See what it does? It makes you feel good. Eagles win. Win. It makes you feel good. It just does.
I went out. I didn't even watch football the rest of the day. I went out, celebrated, enjoyed the weather. You know,
God bless you.
The city was great. Everyone was happy.
God bless you. We had fall baseball yesterday, our last tournament. Yeah. And then I was all locked in. You didn't watch the Steeler game? That was awesome. I loved it.
Bebopping around town, dude.
God bless.
Bach bar.
I bebop.
I don't
bebop anywhere anymore.
Yeah, Bach bar.
It's a good spot.
Yeah,
Bach
you too.
It was a great night.
Bar?
It was a great night for that.
Beautiful night.
Up on a rooftop, looking at the happy city below me.
That's funny. The Bach bar. That was that. You know how the city's changed.
Yeah.
All right. God bless you, brother. I don't bebop anymore. I bebop on my couch and watching the games. Joining us, another man who's not bebopping anywhere. He's watching film, judging by his peaked face. We love him. Resident Leatherhead, Franny Films.
Yeah.
That's right. Fran Duffy. With Franny. Good morning.
Look at that hoodie.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm bebopping to back and forth to the kitchen, watching that Steeler game last night. We had fettuccine Alfredo in the crock pot. I'm going back and forth, filling up my bowl and taking that game in.
Dude, that was a great game. That was fun. There's something about Steeler football that has always been just kind of enticing. I hate to say it, but they're a team. Every time they're on, I always find myself rooting for them.
Yeah, and then also like seeing Aaron Rodgers lose. You know, obviously he plays the part in Robert Saleh getting fired a couple weeks ago, and then they go out, they trade for Devontae Adams. Oh, everything's all good here, guys, until they lose 2 straight. And now they're on the downside right now. We talked about the Jets a couple weeks ago, and you asked me, oh, what do you think? And I said, I don't know. It just feels like they're getting ready to hit that down slope, and that's all that's happened over the last couple weeks.
You know what's funny, Franny, too? He's such a hate to face sometimes. Because he's making it. Like, I love him. I've always loved him. I think he's a great, great player. But,
no doubt,
man, when things don't go his way, the faces come out. The head drop, the scowls. Like, that's him to a nutshell.
But no question. I think just watching that Steeler defense fly around last night, that was an enjoyable Sunday night football game, especially after like Thursday night this past week was rough. That was a rough Island game to take in. So getting it back on Sunday night, hopefully we get some good action tonight here too.
Yeah, well, but the Russ is a good story, right? Like,
sure.
Here's what all he has to do. And what they should do is interesting, is Russ throwing down the field just opens up the offense, right? His moon balls will just open up for the run game. And then once you get into the red zone, then I go Fields. I would go two-headed monster, which I've never wanted to do in my life. I would take it back to the college days.
Chris Leak and Tim Tebow?
And I would go Fields in the red zone and Wilson between the 20s.
Yeah, it's the classic. If you've got two quarterbacks, you've got none conundrum right now in Pittsburgh, and they're figuring it out. There were a lot of people that thought maybe they were playing games with the Jets last week in terms of they're going to start Fields. They're just messing around with Wilson, but. No, I mean, look, they come out, they get a big win. Certainly the defense had a big part in that. But I think when you look at Wilson and what he can bring to the table, I think there is a level of stability that they're hoping to get there. But look, I think at the end of the day, the reason why Wilson has been inconsistent over these last couple of years is that it's a tough life to live. And this sounds familiar. It's a tough life to live if you're only going to live off those moon balls down the sideline. And if you're not accessing the middle of the field consistently, if the run game's not there, that's a tough way to live.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
who's he talking about?
Let's make the transition. But let's talk about the good thing. Let's talk about what we saw from Saquon, the explosiveness from Saquon. He could have ran for 300. Eagles' run game just on point, the way it was blocked. I mean, Kenny Gainwell had a nice game as well. What did you see in the film?
Yeah, I think, I'm about 2/3 of the way through the film now. And so I'm basically through the starters reps there in this game against the Giants because we know the backups played the fourth quarter. I think what we saw was what you were hoping for from Saquon Barkley and this run game, because if you get all the yards that he's able to get before contact because of the way the Eagles are able to scheme things up with Jeff Stoutland and then obviously the talent along the offensive line, they're going to create a lot of space for Saquon Barkley. And then what you want is him to create the yardage that most other guys aren't able to do. And we saw both things happen in this game against the Giants. He's obviously picking up so much yardage after contact, finding space to work, that explosiveness getting to the corner. But then also the offensive line, I mean, they just kept going at it. Was like a hammer just going after and after that defensive line for the interior of the Jets or for the Giants. And by the time you got to like the mid-third quarter, you saw that Dexter Lawrence started to wear down a little bit. I just literally got to the 38-yarder in the third quarter, and it was 2 or 3 plays in a row where the double teams finally were able to start getting some movement there on Dexter Lawrence. And you saw, all right, like this is what it was, that battle of attrition where the Eagles were able to come out on top.
Yeah, you know what's funny about him? About when you look at Barkley and just the way he just keeps his legs, like his legs are ridiculous, like the power. And it's funny, VG brought this up earlier about how fast he was running. It was what, second fastest
sprint speed in the NFL this year, I think.
I mean, that's amazing. His legs are ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, he's all power. That power that resonates with his long speed because it's all that ability to kind of to be able to create your own movement from the ground up. And so when you've got legs like that guy does, I mean, you're going to create through contact, but then also your ability to just eat up grass in a straight line. And you saw that his ability to get downhill, not just on that 55-yarder, but even on that 38-yarder, right through the teeth of the defense that I just watched on tape 2 seconds before I jumped on with you guys. I mean, when he is able to just get downhill, he's tough to stop. We saw it on the opening drive. Remember that he caught that pass in the flat and the check down on third down. I mean, he ran through their big nickel corner. He's their third safety there for the Giants. Dane Belton. I mean, he was part of the New Jersey Turnpike. The way he just ran right over him, it was outstanding there from Barkley.
Yeah, and in fact, he could be on an even bigger day if Jalen didn't miss him on the wheel. I mean,
Yeah, so watching those plays back with Jalen, it was the same concept. And honestly, it was plays that we've talked about on the show. It's that mesh concept where they've been able to hit for some big plays here this season. The long play to Goddard against the Saints that won the game. The long play to Devontae last week against the Browns. Same exact play. And on the 3rd and 3, remember the play before the AJ play, before the AJ touchdown on 4th down. They ran the play, and he's looking at the running back. It was Gainwell out of the backfield, and he wants to hit it. He gets stuck on it too long. He had Devontae wide open on the crosser, on the mesh, but he was looking at the wheel. Basically, the idea there is that wheel is an alert route, right? So that's, hey, you know what? If I get something before the snap that I like, that's where I'm going to go with the football. Forget the other progression. So he's doing the right thing there. He just got hung up on it too long. And then with the Devontae play late, the one you're talking about where he's got Saquon on the wheel in the end zone, it was the inverse where he didn't like the alert there. He wasn't even looking at it. He's trying to play the progression out. And so he misses Saquon open in the end zone. And so Yeah, it was not a clean day for Jalen Hurts yesterday. Look, it was 19 dropbacks.
He was bad.
Yeah, 14 attempts, 5 sacks. A couple of those sacks he ran into. It was not a good day overall for Jalen Hurts on Sunday.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, he's got the one. Devontae staring at him on the crosser, the shallow crosser. He's staring at him. Right in his face. He's looking at him. And he doesn't. He's so late. And the other issue is, and I wonder about what Kellen Moore feels, because he's changing a lot of the plays early too. Like, you look at that first drive, some of the scripted play, he's changing them.
Yeah, and it's tough because on film, the film like cuts out before or after the play has been made. So now as I'm watching live, typically I'll make a note like, all right, like this Jalen is calling an audible here on this play. I mean, that third down incompletion to Jahan Dotson, it was 3rd and 5. Who knows what the play was, but the play was changed. It was 3 vertical routes, and he threw a back shoulder fade to Jahan Dotson outside the numbers. Like, low probability chance of completion there on those plays. And so, it's tough. I mean, again, it was 10 completion. I went through them on the post show yesterday, but go the attempts. It's like interception, throw, screen, down, sack, screen, sack, a throwaway, sack. Like, it was not a productive day in the pass game yesterday.
No, not at all. All right, what did you see defensively? Let's look at the Eagles' defense, which was a lot of fun. And Nakobe Dean everywhere, 11 tackles, 2 sacks. I mean, it was beautiful what the Eagles' defense did yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can keep a team out of the end zone 2 weeks in a row, you're humming defensively, and that's something that this Eagles defense has now done. Obviously, it's against 2 weaker offenses, right? But that's what a good defense is supposed to do. You take care of business against a bad offense, and so they come out, they get 8 sacks in this game. Everybody kind of spreading the wealth. It was defensive ends, defensive tackles, linebackers. Obviously, Dean gets in on a couple sacks. All of those sacks came from 4-man rushes, and so while you're bringing Dean from the second level on a couple of them, you're dropping a defensive end out. And so you're not losing numbers on the back end. And that's where that flexibility in that Vic Fangio scheme comes into play. And so that was certainly
good. He loves his own blitz, man. He loves that.
Yep. And so to me, like, I think we're just starting to see, I thought that Vinny Curry yesterday on the show brought up a great point, and just seeing Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith kind of working in tandem together and layering their rushes and saying, all right, hey, like, I'm going to go high, you go low. And I thought he did a good job of explaining that on the show yesterday. So, for our viewers that haven't watched that, make sure you go check that out later today, the post-game show, because I thought Vinny made a really, really good point. Because honestly, when you think back to some of the Eagles defensive lines that have been so good, you think back to the Super Bowl year and, in years before that, where the line was really, really good. It's not just, hey, everybody pin your ears and go. It's, hey, if the guy next to me, if I know that you're gonna go high, you're gonna maintain the height of the pocket. Well, then now as a defensive end, I've got the ability to run deep. And you saw in a couple of those sacks, like Nolan Smith looking up at Jalen Carter and saying, like, yeah, I told you that we did this exactly how we talked about it. It was really good stuff to see.
I'll tell you one thing, man. We were talking about it with Zach. Jalen Carter, he just doesn't come off the field. And it's funny because if I'm Fangio, I don't take him off the field at all. I love that kid, man.
Yeah, and I think that what I'm starting to hope to see now from him over these last couple of weeks, and hopefully this can kind of build, is just more consistency, right? We saw that dominant performance against the Saints, and it's been kind of like fleeting, where you see the flashes and you're just, I just want to see it more consistently. And hopefully now you can start to see him kind of build off of that. The skill set is so dominant. He should be doing this on a weekly basis. And so hopefully now that's what we'll start to see.
I want you to go back. I got to look at the progression from like Aaron Donald or Myles Garrett and exactly when it started to click on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it depends on the guy. I mean, Aaron Donald came in and he was a very productive player, basically from the jump. I think the big thing that you're hoping to see, because that is certainly a position where it can take time. I actually did that deep dive last week looking at Dexter Lawrence and his progression, because I don't know if you remember, like when his rookie contract was up, it was a big decision for the Giants to say, oh yeah, we're going to pick up that 5th-year option. And I was comparing it to Jordan Davis. Like, hey, you know what? Like, this is what these guys looked like. It was pretty comparable. Dexter Lawrence to Jordan Davis from their first 2 years of their career when it came to like pressure rate and run stop rate and a lot of those different metrics. So it can take some time for those guys to really hit their ceiling. You just hope that that's what we're starting to get here from Carter.
Yeah, I just think that kid. Obviously you're right about consistency, but I love that kid. I love the way his just ability. Like I can see it. I think it's going to pop at some point within the next. It may not be till next year, but I think he's an elite player. Now you know who else is popping right away? All right, Kenyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I love that kid too. Like watching those two kids, you know, Kenyon is such a polished player. Like we talked about a couple rookie mistakes he made early, which are going to happen with young corner. It's hard to play corner in this league. He's so polished. He's so buttoned up.
Yeah, and look, the interceptions are going to come. Obviously, you hope he catches that one. Honestly, I'm not even worried about it. I think that what we're seeing from him so far has been really, really positive signs for what he can be down the road. And to what you said, I mean, him and Cooper DeJean, it's good to be able to kind of work out, iron out some of those issues that you're having from like a communication standpoint against some of these offenses now. And you hope by the time you get to week 15, week 17, wild card round, divisional round, that now you're better than because of some of the things that you're going through now. And I think we're seeing that from this young secondary group. I mean, DeJean looked pretty good yesterday. I'm excited to go back through the film, honestly, and see just the impact, because we saw the replays of like the defensive line on those sacks, but so often the rush and the coverage are married together. So, I want to be able to see what was the role of the back seven on a number of those plays, because that's some of the hidden plays from those corners where we don't always see, hey, look at how Kenyon Mitchell mirrored this route at the top and took away the throw. We saw one play on a replay yesterday where you saw Nakobe Dean kind of sink into the throwing lane over the middle of the field, and that took away the throw for Daniel Jones. We just didn't see enough of those replays yesterday because we were on like the Fox D team at that point. But I think when you're looking at overall, the back seven certainly had to get some flowers here for the way that the rush is starting to come together.
Yeah, that was it. That crew is not good, man.
No, get some flowers. I like it. Franny's a flower guy and a crockpot guy.
Well, crockpot. Yeah, football guys are crockpot guys.
Football
I've
guys
learned
are crockpot guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no bet because I got home after the post-game show. It was like 6:15, 6:30. I just throw everything from the fridge into the crock pot and just let it go while I'll start watching the game.
Look at that. Yeah. What'd you put in there?
We had yesterday was like I'm gonna throw a couple different pastas. So I had some like leftover like cavatappi, and I had some leftover. What was it? I think it was just some regular penne, some chicken breast, some vegetables, a little chicken style Alfredo sauce. I'm throwing a bunch of stuff in there. Yeah, that was like, all right, let me empty the pantry. We're gonna reset for next week.
Yeah, you don't do pasta.
Invite Cuz over to watch some video and eat some crock pot with you.
Listen. You don't do pasta dirty like that. All right, you do pasta dirty. All right, so that's never good.
Never go.
Say some meatballs or some roast beef.
I'm thinking beef tips, carrots, potatoes,
a little stew vibe.
You go savory around.
Let's do it.
Not with pasta. Come on, bro.
I'm getting hungry now.
Come on, put barley in there.
Sure.
All right, let's go around the league. All right, let's look at where the Eagles are now. So around the league yesterday, let's look at NFC. My God, that Lions-Vikings game, both those teams are ridiculous. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, I'm excited to go through that film later this week. I think the big thing is that the Detroit was able to be effective in that game, even though the run game wasn't always there. Montgomery got banged up early on, and they were still able to create some chunk plays. I mean, Jared Goff he is
Jahmyr Gibbs
right now. He is on heater.
Jahmyr Gibbs is ridiculous too. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, against that defense, he's a better matchup than Montgomery is against that defense.
Yeah, and what I was expecting coming in was when you look at that Brian Flores, that blitzing scheme, and how did the Eagles beat them back in week 2 last year? That's where that running game really kind of came to life. Say, hey, you know what, you want to bring these pressure looks, all these light bodies, all the sub package. All right, well, we're going to go heavy and we're going to run right down your throat, and that's kind of what I expected. But again, Montgomery got hurt. They kind of got away from the run game, but then Goff, I mean, he was humming yesterday, and so I look, I've long been a believer in the fact that you got to give these quarterbacks time to get like that master level where it's like Neo at the end of the Matrix, where he's able to like kind of see everything before it happens. Like it's going to take time to get there, right? It's like going to grad school. You got to put the time in, time on task. So it's up to you as a coach to help him through that and give him that time. How are you able to win games in the meantime? And so with Jared Goff, I mean, with Sean McVay, it was a lot of play action and all the misdirection, all the motion. We saw that in Detroit.
The only thing is Neo was a willing student.
Right. Yeah, that's right. And that's exactly the point. That's the only thing we don't know, right? With all of these guys is, are they putting the time in to be able to embrace some of the teachings that they're getting from their coaches? But clearly that's where, I mean, Jared Goff is taking that step.
Once you're in the league 5 years, I mean,
Yeah, that's where you're hoping that, because right now the last 2 weeks the Eagles have shown like because we have said since week 2 the best part of this offense is the run game, is downhill run game. So it's good that they're leaning into that, but you want to be able to get a little bit more from the pass game. So hopefully, all right, let's take a little bit of a backseat and let's see if we almost what we were talking about with the secondary earlier. Let's kind of do a little bit of a reset. Let's see if we can get humming here for the back end of the schedule.
Dude, how about Washington, man? I know Carolina's bad.
Carolina's bad, yeah.
I mean, they went down the field. They go bing, 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 and then Dalton throws a pick 6.
Yep. Yeah, and that defense just has they have no talent right now because of injuries and that offseason. It's an interesting case study because obviously they went all in to try and get the quarterback and Bryce Young, and in doing so, I mean, they sold off all their parts. I mean, you had blue chip players. You can't just tear everything down in the NFL and just say, all right, well, it's going to be all about one player, and you get rid of Christian McCaffrey, and you get rid of DJ Moore, and you get rid of Brian Burns, and you get rid of all these good players because now you look around and you're like, we got no blue chip talent. We have nothing, and if the quarterback doesn't hit on top of that, it's that's tough. You're way behind the 8 ball right now as an organization.
So Dan Quinn said Jaden Daniels more tests today to find out the severity of the rib injury.
His mom tweeted out he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like, I know the mom tweeted out saying he was fine. My guess is that at most we're talking about like a 1 week thing and put the flak jacket on him. But we'll see what that looks like.
And last thing, how great are Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo? I mean, I know that Debo was out, like he killed them, and then Ayuk got hurt, but I mean they're down to next to nothing. Right? I mean, they got their weapons. I mean, they got very little in the holster. They're bringing Kareem Hunt off the street, right? All you got's Worthy, and he's not the volume type of receiver that you need. And man, they just figure out ways.
Yeah, I was talking about it with Jamie yesterday, with Jamie Lynch, and the money was going to San Francisco. The San Francisco's favored going into that game, and I'm looking around. I'm like, guys, this is Andy Reid coming off the bye. This is a Spagnuolo defense going up against San Francisco. That's that's their offense. Yeah, they've had their moments this year, but obviously you're down McCaffrey. Guys are banged up. To me, I picked the Chiefs going in. I felt pretty confident in that one, but it was one of those like, why do I feel this confident? Why does everybody feel like the 49ers are going to win this game?
I thought it was a setup too. I liked I'm close to Spags. I thought, wow, if there's a game that would be a potential, like you'd see San Francisco look great, it would be this one. But then again, once Debo killed that, like it killed Purdy because now you're already down Juwan Jennings, and then you lose Ayuk and you got no Debo, so you're throwing the 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, and one of those guys was Pearsall, who was making his first start of the entire season, the first round pick, and so obviously he's going to be behind the curve as well in terms of what you would expect from him in his first career start. So I think that San Francisco, they've got some work to do if they're going to make this playoff, because obviously, look, 7 teams are going to make it, and so there's a pathway for them, but it's going to be an uphill climb because
they're lucky
NFC,
they're in that division.
Yeah, there's teams in that division, but then you look around like the NFC North. Like how many wild cards are going to not be from the NFC North this year? It's going to be a tight path.
I'm with you. Great stuff, Franny. Always fun. Franny Films.
Appreciate you guys.
There he is. Even gave me the appreciate you. That's a football guy thing. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's football.
Well, it's just a sports guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's an athlete. It's like all the guys appreciate you.
I've been told,
like from GM through coach through this has been going on for like about 5 years now.
Okay.
To player.
I heard it was a generational thing. Like the younger generations like
no,
to say
because
that.
the coaches do the same thing.
It's good to know.
It's been like that for like 5 years.
I'd say, because I generally do appreciate you.
Yeah, but it's appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, like it's funny. I'll say something as bags like this is years ago. I was joking around. Big go, appreciate you. I tried to trot me all the way. Appreciate you, cuz. All right.
It's good.
I'm stuck on that crock pot.
Killed it, right? Killed
man.
it. That's gross.
Listen, when you're by yourself, especially sometimes us as men,
What are we talking about?
You know,
You gotta put two different kinds of pasta, two different
Guys, I'm not
pasta
saying
dishes in
I'm
one
doing
crock
this.
pot.
Hey, chicken. First of all, chicken and pasta don't go. All right? Just so you know, it should never go.
chicken and pasta. You don't like in the crock pot or just in general?
In general.
I don't know. I've had some solid chicken and pasta
There's
dishes.
not Italian dishes because the chicken and pasta does not exist in Italy.
My friends
Stay
over.
away from, I don't want to hear it. All right? Stay away from that two marriage. That's not a marriage. Chicken
I
and
saw a
pasta.
good recipe over the
Poultry.
weekend.
Poultry and pasta do not go.
It was a beef and Guinness Irish stew.
Now that
No,
sounds
with cheddar
good.
That's
dumplings.
crock pot worthy there.
It looks
That
great.
sounds good.
I want to make it.
I'm in on that.
That sounds good. Don't. Please.
No chicken and pasta, guys.
Please.
No chicken parm.
Oh man.
It doesn't exist, in Italy.
I know.
It's an American thing. Don't do that.
I'm not
Chicken and
listen,
pasta.
I'm not crazy about the chicken parm.
Doesn't go. All right.
What do we say with this? Maybe Jalen's.
I needed to get time to get my read up. Go ahead.
I just say maybe Jalen's got when he excels with good teachers like Steichen and then mediocre teachers, he's mediocre.
No. How about Steichen just ran an offense that was a read option that at the time, which was the college offense, which he felt comfortable in.
So you think?
And then defensive coordinators caught up to the college offense, and now you need to play pro big boy offense.
So you think Steichen would have the same struggles here?
Yep. It's the offense. The offense they ran the same offense in Alabama and Oklahoma. It's a spread. It's a college offense.
RPOs,
And listen,
baby.
In that year, they caught everybody off guard. And then once they realized how to play it, now you really need to go and adapt and play NFL quarterback. That's the crux of the problem.
Spot on.
All right, we got lots to get to. We got a little NBA action.
Yeah.
Devon!
Harwood.
The association.
I can't wait. You look forward to it?
Of course.
I like hoops, man. You know.
Well, I know you are.
This is Philly,
a
man.
serious-
Round ball.
I'm
He's
more.
a-
I mean,
Yeah, he's
I
a
lean college hoops,
the orange
but
man.
I
Yeah.
like all hoops.
He's ready for the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, let's talk about the Excite Center at Parks Casino. Tell you about all the good stuff happening at Parks Casino. Man, it's every night. There's something. You want to talk about places to go eat, have great food? The Parks Grill Steakhouse, the Bamboo Noodle House, right? The beer garden, which is tremendous. And they have all the great acts and everything else. It's a mecca of entertainment. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Located right here in our backyard. Street Road exit off of 95, the PA Turnpike. It's the place to be. In the Excite Center, state-of-the-art entertainment venue inside Parks Casino. Named one of the best places for concerts and comedy acts. Man, you got it. Tickets on sale now for these headliners coming up this week. The return of the Queens, TLC.
I don't want no scrub. Scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me.
October 25th, comedian Michael Blaustein. November 1st, Invincible, a tribute to Michael Jackson. How about Frasier?
Want to be starting something? You got to be starting something.
So you're
Wanna
going to
be
do
starting
JP.
something. It's too high to get over. Yeah. Too low to get under. Yeah. You're stuck in
Gonna
the
go with
middle.
Thriller. It's Halloween
I
time.
did Thriller on Friday.
November 14th, Ezra, Ray Hart, the lead singers from Sugar Ray, Better Than Ezra, and Tonic joined together for an incredible night.
If you could only see the
He
way
does that really well.
she loves me, maybe you would understand.
November 23rd, comedian Steve Trevino. December 6th, Patti LaBelle.
Gitchy, ya, da, da.
December 14th, comedian Eric D'Alessandro. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. And let's talk about not just football season or basketball season, which is about to commence, hockey season, which just started, but engagement season.
Yeah.
Engagement season, you need to go to Golden Nugget Jewelers. That's right. Engagement season runs from fall, this period of time, right? Think about it. It's a romantic period of time. It's beautiful weather, sunny days, right? The leaves, all kinds of colors. It's beautiful. And it takes you into Halloween, which is fun. And then you got Thanksgiving, which is a great time to get engaged. Christmas holidays, perfect. This is the joyous time of the year. Through New Year's, and then, of course, Valentine's Day, which is the Super Bowl of engagement season. So if you met that perfect somebody, go see my man, Yaron. All right? He's the coach that's going to get you through buying that engagement ring, which is a lot, right? It's a big purchase, man. So you want the settings, you want the diamond, right? Put it all together for this amazing ring that's going to knock her socks off. You got to go see Yaron. Golden Nugget Jewelers, 8th and Chestnut, right in the heart of Jewelers Row. You got to be there, man. Fantastic, right? I've sent scores of guys there to get engaged. So go to goldennuggetjewelers.com. Golden Nugget Jewelers is where Philly gets engaged.
We got an update before you talk to Devon here.
What we got?
So Shams just tweeted out. Love it. Chris Middleton is expected to miss Wednesday's season opener. He's still battling that knee or that ankle. I'm sorry. But what did the Bucks do with Chris Middleton? I mean, they're still hoping that he gives them.
Well, you have to. I mean, you got it. You're locked into him. I don't like that update.
We'll find a better breaking news.
Underwhelming.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I want something.
We want like siren.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Like, get my attention.
All right, we can get that for you.
All right.
Yeah, you talk about the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, he gets asked
He's the best.
if switching to Russell Wilson with a 4-2 record was one of his boldest decisions. He says, "That's why I'm well compensated. Thank you," and gets up and leaves.
Dude, that is awesome.
He's the greatest, by the way.
Yeah.
He is.
He went over to his OC at one point when I don't know what he said, but I thought he was going to say run it. He went up throwing a fade to Pickens.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can see he's like, you better score. Listen, mother father, you better score in this play. I love Mike Tomlin. He's tough.
Yeah.
Collinsworth told a great story about him last night about how they just run hard practices on Fridays. Fridays when everybody is doing walkthroughs and light stuff.
Shells.
Right? He's practicing 2 hours. And he goes, I'm going to lose out guys like that. But if I lose out guys, I don't want them. I only want tough guys.
I love him.
He's the best.
Can we get a quick clarification? Because chat is going wild right now with the chicken and pasta. Can you do chicken and noodle, like a teriyaki lo mein, chicken lo mein?
Yeah, as long as it's not Italian.
As long as it's not Italian? Okay.
But
crazy.
again, like the chicken noodle soup is the greatest, right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to use an Asian flavor. Yes.
Okay.
Noodles and chicken go.
Just not the pasta with the chicken.
It's not an Italian thing.
Okay.
A chicken and pasta do not
Like
go
some places
with
will
Italian.
do a chicken rigatoni. It's like,
No.
no.
It's
See, I
horrible.
do
That's
like
horrible.
that.
Once again, like you don't
do
put.
I do like that.
Yeah, that's horrible. You have horrible
Chicken
taste.
cacciatore with like a pasta.
No, it's not. It's not Italian. It's not.
There's this restaurant trail.
I don't care. I don't care.
Long hots, cuz long hots.
Don't go there. Don't. You're stubborn. You're stubborn. All right? Do I tell you about Colombian food? No, I don't. All right?
It's a big debate right now in the chat. Just
It
so
doesn't
you know.
go. I don't care.
You got a lot of people sparked up.
There's no Italians in that chat. They don't know
Whatever
what they're
it is,
talking about.
whoever's saying anything pro chicken and pasta from an Italian perspective is wrong. All right? You are wrong. I go by the motherland, and it does not exist in the motherland. Chicken parm doesn't exist in the motherland. All right? It doesn't go. The chicken is an American thing. All
Go
right?
to your Olive Garden
We always
or
do.
Bertucci's.
Well, that's not Italian.
That's American
fake me
Italian.
out. It's not even Italian American. It's fake me out. And the American goes too heavy with the chicken. All right, they fall in love with the poultry. I'm against it, but whatever. We're not in Italy. We're in America, so but just don't do it. Don't do it in Italian style.
About Alfredo.
JP.
Someone's going to feel like Alfredo.
That's not. It also does not exist in Italy. Alfredo is fugazi. It does not exist in Italy. You can't go to Italy and order Alfredo.
No cream sauces at all?
Oh, not even the gorgonzola cream? They don't do that over there?
Well, they do. They don't do cream, right?
Right. Okay.
They'll do. Their sauces are different. Up north, you can get a little bit of cream but the south they don't use cream.
I do like the gorgonzola, not the Alfredo.
They
Alfredo's
use
trash.
olive oil.
People in the chat say they're going to terrorize you, like on Twitter, just send you pictures of chicken and parm.
Yeah,
Chicken Alfredo.
God, it's horrible. Listen, I can't. Chicken Alfredo is gross.
No, I'm with
just-
you on that.
That's
just
horrible.
not good. Not
Listen,
flavorful.
I'm not going to tell you. You give me a chicken parm sandwich every once in a while.
I'll tear that up, too.
I got no problem with a chicken parm sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
I'll
That's
tear
good.
that up, too.
Listen, I like it's tasty. I prefer the veal parm, but the chicken
What
parm
about-
is
Absolutely.
great.
What about the eggplant? You like the eggplant part?
I love the eggplant.
Is that
parm.
Italian?
eggplant.
Yes, eggplant is
All
different. Yes.
But it doesn't, not
The
on,
eggplant is
a
very-
bed of noodles.
No. Well, first of all, you don't call pasta noodles, right? You don't do that. No, that's hard. All right, now we got that straightened out. I need to talk some basketball.
Hoops.
You like poking me? I found it's JP. JP likes to poke. Cultural. It's cultural poke.
My belly knows what it likes, cuz.
What's that?
My belly knows what it's like.
All right, we'll just keep it to yourself. All right. Forgive us because I got to get to our next guest to talk some hoop. He's going to be joining us to get ready for the start of the season, the association. And the thing about Devon Givens is people think, he's a great Sixer man, which he is. But he's a leaguesman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I trust Devon's eye. He's got more of an eye than many, many analysts out there making big cash.
I agree.
All right? He's the great Devon Givens.
Yeah.
What's up, brother? Wait,
He's got himself.
You're muted.
He's muted.
I see you guys have a spirited discussion about some food over there to start things off.
They love to do this to me. They love to just, culturally poke me.
I see. I see. It's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I take umbrage to it.
I know you do. I know.
Listen,
I've heard this before.
You can show some respect. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Let's talk about the associate. I came out with tomorrow night, Devon.
Tomorrow night. Yep.
Tip-off. I'm excited, man. I think this is great.
Boston, New York, first game. So I'll be locked in, man. It's gonna be a fun basketball season for sure, man.
All right, well, let's get started. And let's start. We're going to do Eastern Conference today. All right? We're going to do Eastern Conference today, Western Conference tomorrow, and Sixers on Wednesday for the opener. Does that sound good?
That sounds good. Yep.
All right. So we'll start with the Celtics because they're defending champs. They're going to wait for Porzingis. Tatum, after being embarrassed at the Olympics, is got a chip on his shoulder. What do you expect from the C's?
Hey, don't forget about Jalen Brown also having a chip on his shoulder from being left off of Team USA, not getting enough respect. Walking around all offseason, Anthony, with that NBA championship hat on. Every time you would see him publicly, he had the hat on. So, yeah, he still feels some types of way. Of course, he's carrying that on his shoulder. I think Look, man, they're very good. They're really good. And they cannot be overlooked. Even though they're a year older, Porzingis is going to be out for what? January, maybe even February, depending on how the team looks, how good they look, where they can sit them and rest them a little bit longer. That team is really good from the guard play that they have with both Drew Holiday and Derek White. And then you go to their wings. Al Horford will most likely get the start there at the 5, but coming off the bench, they even have their guys in Hauser and Pritchard, and Xavier Tillman is going to have a bigger role right from the start just because Porzingis is not ready to go. They are the defending champions. They should be respected as such, and they cannot be overlooked for who they are and what they're going to do this season.
So is Drew Holiday mortal? He never looks old to me.
No, he doesn't.
It's amazing. He plays the game so perfectly, right? He's, man, play great defense. He'll find the open man because he can run point and don't leave him open beyond the arc. Like, he just does everything well. And he never looks old to me.
And he never looks tired. No. Being out there for the amount of minutes that he's on the floor and the assignment that he has. I mean, just the IQ, knowing where to be, knowing where to jump the spots defensively, where he can do that man up individually one-on-one. But the team defense, when you watch him, man, when they get through these switches and they fight underneath these switches, he gets caught on a bigger offensive player. He's the smaller defender. And on a low block, they're trying to, of course, back him down. And he doesn't move because his base is so strong with how he prepares in the offseason. Knowing, of course, we saw him very early, but he is now an even much better player than he was early on. But just knowing some of his people out in LA, how he trains, how he goes about his business, and what he does. Just a phenomenal player. I mean, when we talk about Hall of Fame and certain players don't belong in the Hall of Fame and things, he's got 2 championships now. He's got 2 gold medals. And to your point, he's not mortal. He continues to be better and better each year, how valuable he is. He's taken 2 teams that were on the brink of championships and help guide them, not by himself, but help put them over the top, both Milwaukee and Boston. He's a phenomenal player, man. And it's good to see him get the credit that he deserves for what he has done and just be that player that I think a lot of Sixer fans would love to have on this basketball team right now to help, again, get them over the top.
I know, dude. I hear you. I really hear you. All right. We have Boston Sixers are the top favorite in the conference, and then the Knicks and Cousin. What do you feel from the Knicks? I'm curious about, and are they big enough?
So if you look at even on ours, Bet365, and what they say, even on Bet365, they have the Knicks as a higher win total than the Sixers do of right now on the over-unders for the regular season Parks win totals. Yeah, on Parks as well. So they're there right now where people are saying that they are the number 2 seed, especially after the Towns trade. And so with them, they lost some of that depth, of course, when it comes to the Hartenstein piece, where I've talked to you about that on your show. That said, they then go get Towns. And we were talking about it the day of the trade during media day and how good they are. They still have that depth, seeing it in the preseason a little bit. And although it is preseason, they look pretty good. The chemistry is there, even with Towns, where we talk about Kale. He can jump right in and play with Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson because of their familiarity in the past. They picked that up right away. That's not a problem. OG Anunoby is an unselfish player. Doesn't care about, well, he does care about getting the ball. We'll see how that plays out during the season. But so far, it seems like it has been seamless with McBride and Precious Achiuwa, though, now going to be out for a few weeks because of his injury. And we've already talked about losing Hartenstein and their big man problems. Mitchell Robinson is also out. That's where my question is going to come in to start. Are there going to be some moments there in these games, starting off with the Boston Celtics tomorrow night, where that front court issue is going to be a problem? Because who's that going to be? They're going to have to go to Jericho Sims now as that primary backup. I just don't know if he has that in him to be that good right away. The young player that the French guy that they have on their team, can they spot him some minutes to just get them through? Because you know how Thibodeau likes to overplay guys. Maybe a point where they get in foul trouble. But that said, I still believe that they are the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference: Boston, Philadelphia, and New York, in no particular order. If I had to lean, I would still say Philadelphia right now over the Knicks. But those are the three. They're going to be good. They're going to be really good. I think Jalen Brunson is for real as a franchise leader and as an NBA star in the NBA. So I do think it's for real. They're very good.
I tell you one thing. Looking forward to seeing Cousin. Well, actually not, but from your perspective,
Yes.
love to see Mikal on that team because I just think he's a great fit on that team.
Yeah, man. Really excited. Just taking the family hat off, which is sometimes hard to do. But yeah, just looking at the player, for what Mikal does, again, an unselfish player. He's really selfless, man. Where he, the one thing that I always had trouble with, we're trying not to be his cousin when trying to analyze things when he came out of college and even got to the pros, was where people would say, well, he can't score, he can't put the ball on the floor, he can't do these things. Now, selfishly, I've seen it. I've seen him do this. I've seen it in his entire life of how he's prepared, how he's worked. He's even surpassed things that I thought he could be as a pro. And with that, looking at his game and how it's evolved, he is just one who, again, can just, you give him some shorts and a jersey and he fits right in on the floor, on the team. He wants to do everything he can to help his team win. And now he's playing with two guys that he knows very, very well. He's very similar to OG Anunoby, where they both know how to play with one another defensively and off the other two players that are said to be the offensive stars. But what he has also shown, and which he was shown at the end of the Phoenix run before he was traded and shown in that Brooklyn playoff run, is that he can score the ball. So he can be that third option behind Brunson and Towns to still put up decent numbers. So for that, when you are looking for that third scorer on a contending team, he is that one with those other two. And he's going to have single matchups because of the double teams that those two are going to receive. So I'm happy to see that he's happy and in a winning situation because he doesn't like to lose. Just no one likes to lose. But speaking for him, not for him, but speaking for us, he does not like to lose. So happy to see him happy again in a situation where he has a chance to win.
All right. Milwaukee, since Sixers are playing Milwaukee, we talked about Middleton being probably out for the game. Doc, I still don't understand that move for the life of me. What do you think of the Bucks? I mean, you move Drew Holiday and you pay for that move. You
do, and Giannis, that was on him. It wasn't just the organization. That was on him. He's the one who wanted that offense. And for the life of me, I get wanting the offense, but when the other part with the defense is working, and I understand that Middleton was dealing with his injuries and he would miss some time and you needed some help. Sure, Holiday wasn't going to give you that consistent 25, 26 at night, but the value of his defense of slowing down someone on the other side that may be the star to allowing them to get their 25, 26 a night. Again, you cannot lose that. And as a defensive player himself, he should know that. And that's the problem with them, losing that identity that they had. Right now, the identity is just Giannis doing what he does, putting the shoulder down, finishing very well.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez firing up threes.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard firing up threes, and Chris Middleton, when he comes back, he looked great in the postseason compared to what he did in the regular season. What's the identity? And the identity was there with Drew Holiday for all of them in a row. Now, I will say this about Doc Rivers. He has a full offseason to get them into what they want to do, which he did not have last season. That's not an excuse, but it is a fact that he has a full offseason of doing it the way he wants to do it. And I still think they're behind the other three, but any Giannis-led team, I still believe has a chance.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's funny. I don't know about you guys, or what you guys think, but Doc, to me, is a good teacher, right? Like, he knows he's a good teacher. He's a horrible game day coach.
His rotations.
I disagree with everything he does in his game during his game. But as a teacher of the game, he's brilliant. Like that, what he did with Maxey, what he did with Embiid, getting him that line, he was correct. He needed that shot. So that free throw line extended became automatic. Like, there are things that he implemented that really helped the maturity of Maxey, the growth of Embiid, And he's a really good teacher. I just never kind of jive with him when it came to his game day coaching.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There were some issues there. Of course, he was very good. And when they got the number 1 seed, he did some really good things to help them to where they are with Maxey and Embiid in particular, especially since those are the only 2 left over here. But we're always going to have the Atlanta series where, hey, it wasn't just Simmons. It wasn't just Embiid. There were some things with Rivers as well. And in this spot, I am very curious to see how it all works. You have a few other guys like Taurean Prince and Gary Trent Jr. on 1-year deals. Also, Brook Lopez, as good as he has been in translating and turning his game around from what it used to be as a back-to-the-basket guy, he's now a defender and a three-point shooter. He's also a year older. So I'm very curious to see how all of that now translate. You're going to get off to a good start because they're a good team. It's the 82-game grind that I'm worried about the Milwaukee Bucks and how that stuff may fade, especially if Middleton continues to miss time. And then they figure out Damian Lillard. He might be a guy who may not be mortal either, like you just asked about Drew Holiday, because the guy can shoot. But defensively, you can run right by him, and that is a big problem.
Yeah.
Hey, since we're talking about the Eastern Conference, Devon, is there a standout rookie you think? Like the rookie of the year from the Eastern Conference?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, the kid from Atlanta, the number 1 overall pick, Reece Shashay, he looked really good in a couple of games. We saw him against the Sixers, and seeing him his first game where he put. Well, no, it wasn't the first game. I think it was the second game where he had 19 and 12, I believe it was, where his numbers. That was his final stat line. He's interesting. I don't know that he's going to start, but coming off the bench and on a team like that, surrounded by a bunch of veterans, expectations are simply trying to get to the playoffs with that basketball team, and he has a very good coach in Quinn Snyder. The question is he going to be able to do a lot of stuff offensively by putting the ball on the floor? He can shoot. He can shoot the ball. He has good size, right around that 6'10", 6'11". So Reece Shashay is the number 1 overall pick. That's kind of chalk, VG. Yeah. But we already talked about the draft in general, even at that time where it wasn't that deep, it wasn't that great. So even with the chalk, it looks like they got the number 1 pick right over Sarr with Washington, where he was the leader for a really long time. Atlanta decided to go with Reece Shashay. I would lean him going into the start of the season.
What do you think about the Lithuanian kid? He's pretty high up on the Bet Parks right now for rookie of the year from Chicago.
From Chicago, yeah. Bazelis. He's also a nice player, and Billy Donovan has said he's going to play. He looks for a guard. He looks small. And that's where I think for right now, as you said, a young player, they're all 18, 19 these days when they come out and enter into the draft. He looks like he's going to be a good player. But as far as the rookie of the year, I would lean away from. But based on the odds, when you look at Bet Parks, and where they might have him, it might be worth a little sprinkle there to put him in on that list.
How about what team I like? And I think this could be where it comes together, is Orlando.
I knew you were going to go there, yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I do. I like that squad, man. I think Big Hero's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Dude, he's just tenacious, man. He boards, to shoot threes. He does everything. I love that kid.
Yeah, I mean, to look at him and the size that he is, broad shoulders and just a big guy, but he can move the way he does.
Boozer, but
exactly.
He plays with skill.
Yeah, so with him, my question to the guys on our show, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, we were talking about him in the Eastern Conference in the Orlando Magic, and was he going to take another step up, or was he going to take a step back? And it was just more of, can he still be that all-star, that franchise leader, and do the necessary small things now to improve his game? Because he is who he is now. He's on the all-star level now. That is probably not going anywhere anytime soon. It's just a matter of, can he stay consistent and maybe now do the other next things, the defensive part, consistently knocking down at a higher percentage from the three-point line. Can he do those things in the NBA as the feature guy on a team that is now considered a top 4, top 5 team in the Eastern Conference and is real? Can he do that? So yeah, you're right. He's fantastic. You bring in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and while that may not put you over the edge, you get a veteran defender in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, where the others are more offensive oriented, but having him and Jalen Suggs, also defensive minded, in the backcourt, that's going to be a problem a lot of nights for the Eastern Conference opposition for how good those two are going to be and causing havoc and wreaking havoc on the perimeter.
You got the Wagner brothers.
Yeah. And Franz had a down year last year, so
they're potent, man. Hey, real quick, thanks to our diehards, we love you. Thank you for your support, all PHLY. Yeah, I love. They can fill it. The thing is, can you play defense? I mean, that's going to be their issue. Can they get real good stops? I like Suggs. Suggs is a good player up top.
That's why he made the All NBA team, man. As a point guard, as nasty as he is with that football mentality, that he does not care, man. He will. It doesn't matter how big the opponent is. He will get right into their body and try to take them out of their stuff and not allow them to get set. So he is phenomenal as a defender. So again, pairing him with Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Gary Harris will come off the bench, I think, in this particular lineup. But to have those three as a rotation of three players defensively that can still knock down some outside shots. Suggs' outside shot showed some improvement last season. And again, he's just a dogged guy. He wants to show that he is a two-way player, not just a defensive guy. And they're going to be a problem. So I'm with you. That Orlando Magic team is going to be fun. They love playing for Jamal Mosley, and he has shown to be a pretty good coach.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I guess the only other team, because I'm not a big believer in Cleveland, but Indiana is legit. I mean, Indiana, listen, anytime you got Halliburton just rolling, man. I mean, they're going to be fun to watch. And just how the rotation came into play. Look at TJ. What kind of ball player he turned himself into. Really impressive.
How about that? And look, folks who are watching, if you didn't hear Anthony a lot in the past, he wasn't the biggest TJ McConnell guy. So to give TJ McConnell the credit that Anthony is giving him now, you're really seeing something out of that guy, man, because I remember those conversations that we would have about TJ McConnell. Not to say that I thought he was going to be this, but it was just more of, look at where this team was. Let's see what he does. And he's turned out to be, he's going to have a 12-year career in the NBA, and he has been a meaningful player on some playoff teams like the Sixers in the past.
And he had some moments, man. Like even last year's playoffs, he had big moments.
So I like him to your point of their depth, where Nembhard was able to spread his wings in the playoffs. And now you have a player there that they can trust, Rick Carlisle. And having Ben Mathurin come back after being out for an extended period of time a year ago, Walker, their draft choice from last year, and seeing if Jarris Walker, see if he can do anything, adding to their rotation. They bring everybody back on that squad. Pascal Siakam for a full season with Rick Carlisle after signing his contract extension. They're going to be very good. They gave the Sixers fits last year, running them up and down the floor. So this is going to be a fun team to watch. I will push back on the Cleveland thing a little bit because I think they have a better
New Year's Day, for some reason they play in Indiana like New Year's Day. They get run off the floor. Joel doesn't play, and they get run off the floor. I think it's happened the last 4 years. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, look,
Cleveland.
They have real fast. The Sixers have Indiana in Game 3 on Sunday this week. Later on Sunday in Indianapolis. So we get a quick look at Indiana and what the Sixers look like this time around against that team. The pushback on Cleveland, I like Kenny Atkinson as a head coach. I think they're in a much better spot than where they were with Bickerstaff. And I believe now that Mitchell is not worried about any trade talks. He signed his extension. Mobley got his. Jared Allen got his. And Darius Garland was battling an injury last year. I just never thought he got comfortable. And when that happened, when he was out, that was clearly Donovan Mitchell's team, which it still is. But I think with a much better coach in Kenny Atkinson, Max Strus is out. He's going to be out for a while with his injury. So you're looking at George Niang and a few others trying to fill into that role, Isaac Okoro. But I do think that basketball team is much better with Kenny Atkinson at the helm. Yeah, based on what he did with the Brooklyn Nets in the past. And
right. Listen, I don't – here's my thing with them. I think they have some decent individual players. but I don't think they go well together. I also don't like that backcourt together. I just think it's tough, man, because Darius Garland's a nice player. He needs the ball in his hands.
Yes, he does.
And so does Donovan.
Totally agree. My thing is just more of with a better coach, can you get through to them of how to do it, where you have them trusting and believing it, versus what Bickerstaff was preaching with them in the past, where it was clear that it wasn't a tandem back there. It was just two individual guys doing their part.
It was like Atlanta. You know, like the Atlanta backcourt, the same thing.
Yeah. So
two dynamic players that really don't fit together.
Right. So the buy-in, can there be some buy-in from what the head coach is preaching, what showing you're going to get your shots. Don't worry about that. We're going to run and get you. You're going to be out there for 35 to 38 minutes every night, and you're going to be out there for 40 minutes in the postseason. You're going to get your shots. In today's NBA, as much as they fire up these shots, they're going to get their shots. They're going to get their stuff. So that's where I maybe I'm giving Kenny Atkinson a little bit too much credit, but I liked him. I
appreciate
in the past.
that. I like when you have your guy. I respect that.
Yeah, so, I like Kenny. I thought he got a raw deal in Brooklyn when Durant and Irving took over, bringing in DeAndre Jordan and all of that stuff. I think he's a good coach.
All right, who else? Let's go. The bottom part of the conference. Anybody to watch out for your eyes, and let's look at guys that'll be fun to watch. Sometimes bad teams, you get young players, guys that are fun to watch.
I think Washington is probably going to be the worst team in the conference. They're really bad. They stink. Yeah, they really do.
They really do.
They're horrible. Oh, really God, they're horrible.
It's going to be.
It's amazing. They can't get that franchise right. There's some
they
franchises in the
cannot.
NBA that are just abysmal. Charlotte, Washington, they just can never get it right.
Yeah, that's a bad situation there in Washington. Now, they're going to give their general manager some time to try to fix it. He's a smart guy, and we'll see. But they are not good. So that's going to be a bad franchise for a while. So
what do you think the win total is on Bet Parks? What do you think the win total is for Washington?
16.
I would say 21. 26?
Wow, 20 and a half.
Wow.
Is it?
All right.
Okay, yeah. So I would go under. They're not good at all.
You gotta lay some odds to go to the under. Minus 132.
I thought you're going to win 16 games is my
wow.
Well, you're going under on that one because that sounds about right.
Hard. They're horrendous.
Yeah, they're bad. So as far as I like the Josh Green move to Charlotte. I do. Player to watch, although he was a first-team All-NBA rookie a season ago, Brandon Miller. I really like him. And with a healthy, at least right now, LaMelo Ball to start the season, Brandon Miller there. Charles Lee, I also like, the assistant coach from the Boston Celtics. He's now their head coach. So when you talk about a team to watch, I would look at Charlotte just more of the play-in situation and of moving up. The arrow is pointing up. They get a nice young coach. They have a defensive-minded player than Josh Green that comes in. Grant Williams is going to be there as much as he may get on everybody's nerves because he talks too much. He does things on the floor that kind of just annoy you and all that. He's that annoying guy. You don't even want him on your team. Sometimes you say, hey, that's that annoying guy that I would like on my team. No, he's the annoying guy you don't want to watch, play against, or have on your team.
You're right on.
But he is that two-way guy that can knock down open shots. He's a tough defender. And adding someone like Josh Green, who also just went to the finals with the Dallas Mavericks a year ago, being able to start on this team with Brandon Miller taking that next step into possible stardom in the NBA. I like him, maybe them overall. They have some nice young bigs, Nick Richards, Mark Williams. I think Williams is going to be out for a little bit with injury, but I do like both of those two in the front court. So I'm intrigued by them, where you're right. They can never get it right. And also, they've just been terrible under the ownership of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan can't get it right as an owner. We always praise him for what he does as a player. And even going back to the Washington days, too, he was an horrible owner. Charles Barkley was right. And
he was right. Charles was right. Hey, did you guys
Charles
see?
Is right.
There is a story out there. This is completely off the subject, but with Jordan. So
No, I didn't see this.
James Jordan, Mike's father, James, was murdered, right? It's a story. This was amazing. I remember working in Chicago during that period of time where he was killed. He pulls over on the side of the road. He was going to a wedding, and he pulls over in like South Carolina. He's driving back to North Carolina, and he's murdered in his car. And it's just an awful, awful story. But there was always like weirdness surrounding, like mystery surrounding. So I read a piece yesterday that this week there's going to be some bombshell evidence that they're going to try to reopen the case.
Wow.
That one of the guys is innocent of the murder.
Oh, wow.
And there was
I
a
did
lot
not
of
see that.
like shady, weird things that happened afterwards. Like, they rushed, like the sheriff and everybody was like kind of in cahoots, and they rushed to call it, to get the thing going. And I don't know, but it's there was a story saying there's the bombshell evidence, new evidence. Wow. It was interesting. You remember that? How crazy that was?
I do. Yeah, I do. I remember, and then immediately following, of course, his abrupt retirement and everything.
He goes to baseball.
Yeah, he goes to baseball. That was a wild story of how that played out. The stories that backed it as to why everything happened on the side of that road that day. Everything. Yeah, it was.
There was always the one mystery of our lives, right? Sports wise, was the Jordan going to baseball. Like that still never smelled right. Like it just never did. And then they brought up a quote which was interesting. So when he bought the Birmingham Stallions, that was the team that he played for, this like bus that had a lot of security to it. And he kept saying, there was a quote where he's like, you never know, like who's following you. You never know what could happen. And now it feels ominous when I read it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was a crazy time.
Yeah,
it was a crazy time for him to go play baseball in the prime of his career. The reason, not excuse, the reason why he said he did it. It was always a little fishy. And then the David Stern piece of it, and yeah.
Anything with the kids in Detroit?
Cade Cunningham, if he can stay healthy, maybe. I think Jalen Duren has a chance to be a nice big man in this league as well. Asar Thompson, I like him, but he has to get the shot together sooner rather than later. And that's probably it for me. Bickerstaff is their coach now, so you're leaving the Cleveland situation where I didn't necessarily trust things there, going to where the personnel may be different. It may fit differently. It may fit better, but I just don't know if I'm really buying it.
I like Cunningham, and I
like Cunningham. Yeah,
and I like Duren.
Dude, I saw Duren as a freshman for Roman at Palestra during the Catholic playoffs. Oh, man. He's probably the best high school player I've ever seen. I thought he was a lock to be a stud.
Well, he's living up to it because he still really, VG, doesn't have the greatest of post moves or an offensive game, but it's his energy, his tenacity to get to the basketball, his offensive rebounding, the lob ability where they can toss it up to him to get some of those finishes. I mean, the guy was double machine, not a machine, but he would have a stretch where he's double against these proven pros in the NBA where he's limited for what he does. And he's just a great rebounder in today's game. So I'm buying him. I'm buying Cade Cunningham, especially if he can stay healthy. But at some point, he has to show and prove to Cade Cunningham. It can't continue to be these injuries and us giving him the credit as number one pick. And he got the contract this offseason. So I do like them.
Well, you had to. You had to get your
You had to. Yeah, you had to. Yeah. And look, Tobias Harris, for whatever you want, he's a veteran that people like in the locker room, right? He's going to give you double figures in the starting role. And he's a veteran that young players take to. And maybe he will help in that locker room in that regard as well.
Here's where the Heat, man. It's amazing. You got that kind of – they struggle with their roster.
So having Rozier to start the season off with Tyler Hero, it's about health with them, and it all starts and ends with Jimmy Butler, his health, and how locked in is he. in the regular season. He always talks about how he doesn't care about the regular season.
Yeah.
And he seemed like he took it to heart a little bit this offseason, especially when he did his media day. The last 2 years, he's had the different hair, and he's joking around. He's having some fun, and he said this year it's all about business. So what did he do? He had his head in the braids. He had his hair in the braids with a headband. No wild stock photo for the season because he wanted to go with the goth look or some other look that he decided to have added. So I wonder if he starts things off and he takes the regular season a little more seriously.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, he's got the best coach in the NBA.
The best.
Bam Adebayo's coming off of a gold medal, and Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier to start things off.
They're not deep. They lack depth, man.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Yeah, no depth there. So the starting five, they'll compete.
Yeah.
But they don't have any depth.
Yeah. Hey, man, it was fun, man. I love this. I can't wait. Great NBA primer, my brother. We'll do Western Conference tomorrow.
Western Conference tomorrow. For us, at 3 o'clock, we're going to have on the PHLY Sixers show, we're going to do our Sixers preview today. We're not going to wait for tomorrow. Wednesday is a game day, so we're going to do our Sixers preview today. So if everybody would check in with us at 3 p.m. for our Sixers preview, a lot of questions.
I'll be locked in. Well, certainly for Wednesday, will they have enough to play? You'll be coming off the bench.
Hey, I'm always ready, prepared to suit up. No problem.
Love you, brother. Great stuff, man.
Love you too. Thanks, man. See you guys.
Devon Givens, all PHLY Sixers.
Was that a goal horn?
That's not good.
Deshaun Watson out for the season, Achilles.
Yeah, you know what? And to the round of applause from the people in Cleveland.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, people cheering that he's gone.
Dude, we were giving them roses last week, too. Give him some love.
Did you see any of Jameis Winston? He was talking afterwards.
Oh, no, I didn't hear him.
He was animated.
Yeah,
he was just like...
What did he say?
Just like... Never good to cheer someone who gets hurt, and the guy's here working every day. He was pretty grounded and
of course
wise words from Jameis.
Well, listen, Jameis turned out to be a real kind of wise kind of guy. Yeah. Real good team guy, the whole thing. No, listen. Of course he would say that, but we're going to be in reality outside that room. Everybody in all Cleveland's going, "Oh my God, that guy! You don't have to look at him." And probably Kevin Stefanski's probably the biggest one, who under the edict of his owner had to start him.
Yeah,
terrible situation overall.
In, out on the alarm, bad.
I don't like that alarm.
No, that alarm was.
I want to
worthy of that.
We're gonna go to the lab.
Breaking news story.
All right, we'll workshop some more. All right.
What did I used to have in the radio?
Like there's a radiation leak going on or something.
You remember the radio? What did I have in radio? I don't remember having. I forget what it was.
Can't do the
it was like a siren or something.
We'll find something. Yeah.
All right.
We'll curate something.
All right. What's our back in the day? Rite Aid back in the day. Let me hear it. Back.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
I was singing that while working off.
Oh, nice.
All weekend long.
With Rite Aid.
All weekend long.
Oh, I love it. Well, it's ironic because there's a lot of Phillies things that are going on, but I thought about this.
Phillies, no, please.
No, this is good. So I thought of you guys when I put this up there. So today,
Yankees, Dodgers, it's horrible.
Because today, 1980, the Philadelphia Phillies won their first World Series. Come on, guys.
I'm out.
That's a poke.
Come on.
I'm out.
That's a poke.
This is your first World Series.
No. Hey, listen, it's a good choice for Rite Aid back in the day, Tugger and all this stuff.
You're out on baseball right now.
But I mean, how can I look at the Phillies right now and oh my God, yeah, back in the day? No, I'm not. I don't feel it.
With his arms raised in the back. You gotta believe,
Food poke.
Gotta believe.
Can't necessarily argue with you, but
JP's poking too much today.
Gotta believe.
I'm out. I'm out on that back in the day. I am. I mean, it's a great moment. We've I'm tired of living in 1980. We talk about the quest.
See what you guys did.
We got 2008. We're not living in 1980.
No,
We're
but the whole quest of 80.
Enjoying it.
The whole point of 1980 is to get all 4 teams to be legitimate, go to the finals, be legitimate contenders.
That's like gluttony. That's a deadly sin. You're asking too much. It's greed, gluttony. It's like so many.
You lived through it too.
I know it was great, but I can't desire that again. It's like some crazy Roman big buffet. Like it's too much. It's
you
greed.
Can't desire that again.
What's wrong? I love the buffet.
I mean, it's not buffet, but I love the idea of all 4 teams in the.
There's a lot of heartbreak in the 80s, obviously besides 1980.
Well, the point is that's not the point, JP. The point is we're trying to reclaim 1980, where all 4 teams are relevant and contenders. Talking about the rest of the decade. Who cares about the rest of the decade? We're talking about that 1 year. I've been trying to relive that my entire life. This one doesn't even want it. Freaking kook that he is.
Look at all the suffering we've had after. We had it so good.
We just don't want to sell ourselves.
One at a time, I'm good with.
We want sustained success.
One at a time is horrible.
That's
horrible. The Super Bowl we just had. Now we're in misery.
You agree with him. You got problems.
No, I mean you got problems. If I'm agreeing with him, that means you got problems.
Yeah.
You've been off all day today.
This guy's eating chicken parm.
Giving me Jalen. Jalen. Like, are you crazy?
He had a good game.
He did not have a good game. That's a lie.
Well, he didn't lose the game. No turnovers.
Are you kidding me? No turnovers.
Wide open shots in the middle of the field. He's not even looking at it. Sideline Jalen.
Dude, come on.
Nah, he's one day, a good football day. Nick's going to talk tomorrow, probably ruin everything. Just let us enjoy today.
Nick. He's lining up. Who cares about that? By the way, he was fine yesterday.
Perfect. He was excellent yesterday.
Couldn't ask for more.
All right, Saquon. Hey, look. Get him ready for Sunday, because Sunday they're going to have to throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cincinnati's going to score.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
I agree.
We're going to have to keep up. So let's see. I mean, listen, I can see Saquon another big day.
Give me some more fullback too,
against the Bengals.
I mean,
that defense is that good.
Yeah, what do we do?
They got a little healthier.
What do they do when they face a good rush defense and they're stacking the box a little bit?
Well, let's see. Let's go, man.
We got problems.
See what $200 million man. Let's see what the $200 million man's got.
Mm-hmm. I'm with it.
Let's keep it real.
I'm with it.
All right, that's going to do it for the program. Everybody have a great day. We love you. See you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.